Well. Oh boy, here we go. I'm not going to go through my usual normal spiel, but I'm your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me is my co-host, Herb Lewis, the Big Bad Wolf, and soon to be coming in is Willie A. Price Speaks. Well, maybe Willie did too much talking because it led to Janate Solar Ingram to have enough of what was being said about dating, relationships, the $50 date limit, and some of the profile pictures women post that Willie had observed. So Solar felt it was time for us to take a Solar moment to discuss the topic, where did love go? And to show and to shed light on the modern world of dating. Yeah, this subject it's never ending, never ended. Uh, so tonight we're in the counselor's corner, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Get your popcorn, peanuts, wine in the box ready because us guys, I guess we about to take on a solar moment. So, man, it's I've been excited. This to me, this was like trying to build it up like it was going to be. I'm going to talk about modern day boxers like a Errol Spence or Bud Crawford, or we could go back to the Pacquiao Mayweather type thing. So here we have it. Got the Big Bad Wolf Solar in here. Willie just popped. I'm about to pop him in. Maybe he's in hiding. So we're gonna get this going. But first, like we do our normal stuff. I'm gonna introduce Solar, and she has her side kick on the side. And I'm gonna let them talk a little bit. Then we gonna jump into this. Good evening, Willie.
She actually showed up. What the hell? What's up, baby?
You know
got
what?
The boxing gloves.
I brought my boxing gloves. I'm ready for all.
You gonna need them.
I showed up. I've been here. Where you been? You had to get dapper.
I had to make my appearance. Yeah.
Well, Dave, I don't know. You want me to just introduce it in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Solar Ingram, okay? And of course, you're taking a Solar moment. I'm taking one on his show. I take it wherever I go. Right here, I got my boy JB. Not only can I give a shameless plug?
Absolutely.
Okay, he's not a side piece. He is like the mechanic with the most, baby. He can pimp out your ride, take you to another level. And if anybody, and men know this, when y'all go to auto shops, what do y'all do? Talk mad stuff about everything. So I brought an expert. I ain't gonna get a barber. I went and got somebody who's been talking some good stuff for a long time. So we came today because, Willie, I'm not gonna front. You kind of been making me upset for a while now with some of your posts, and I know you're not Kevin the S-Man, so I'm trying to figure out, is he like boosting your ego this year or something?
What?
Yeah, I said it.
What?
Dave, and it's your show because you know I will. I have several of his posts that kind of was disturbing. Is $50 enough to go on a date? Amanda got to ask, really though? Come on. Okay, broken people. There are a lot of broken people in the world. Some of them admit that they're broken, some of them don't, but you be stirring up the pot. No dinner date. So what you trying to say? You can't pay $50 for a dinner and you don't want to take her on a dinner date. Then you want to post lobster, but you really don't want to share. Then you want to talk about profile pictures, my dude. And then you talk about bondage and relationships in the urban community. Like, where are you from? So I really want to know some of your tea so we can spill that. And then self-destructive behaviors. Is that just a male thing, or do you feel like that's a female thing and a male thing? I don't know. Should I slow down now? I don't know.
Ooh, she coming out with flurries, Willie. Go ahead, Willie.
You might need another woman or something.
I'm home my own with all y'all.
Well, he'll be on here in a minute. I'm letting her get it all out because I know she get tired after a while, and then I can take over.
Oh, that's what you believe. Now we talking endurance. Handle your
Solar.
show, Dave. I'm gonna digress.
Hey, Solar.
Well,
Hey.
Solar, you want to give them a little bit, give them a little bit of your background, some of the things you've done, and your other like radio shows and stuff.
Why, of course. Often you've heard me on WUFO 1080. Of course, that's my hometown station where I started. My blog is over 6 or 7 years old. Take a Solar Moment, every platform. I even got a TikTok. But I want to take y'all back just a little bit. It's a little hot in here, so I'm going to take y'all back just a little bit and tell y'all something about the controversial counselor there himself. He's really one of the reasons I have one of my degrees. He actually had the honor and the privilege and I want to say the challenge of telling me how important it was to go back to school. And that was some years ago. Big shout out to Brian and Stratton. So I've started this journey well over 20 something years ago. And from being a conversationalist to marketing to a youth advocate, that's just pretty much who I am. So I really believe that conversations are what we need to make people whole. I think that something, I'm an author of Cast Iron Omissions. I actually sell my book to more men than women because it's not a chick flick. It's a real type of conversation that we need to have about relationships, not looking like what you've gone through, and then being very transparent about how you get to the next levels in your life. So I would like to say that, and the rest speaks for itself. You could Google me. I'm Googleable.
Okay, all right. So we got another young lady joining us, Christine.
There she is.
Good evening.
Hey. We riding tonight.
Hey.
She in early.
I didn't run over anybody tonight.
So I'm gonna start it off with this question: what is love to you when it comes to romantic relationships? I'm gonna go with you, Willie.
Why me?
I'm just going with
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. I wasn't expecting to go first. So what was the question again?
What is love to you when it comes to a romantic relationship?
Jesus Christ. What is love to me when it comes to that's tough, because when I meet a person, when I get into a relationship with them, I don't think you don't automatically fall in love. You like things, or you find things that you love about them, and then you grow from there. So for me, if I can have, like I said, I'm always talking about conversation. So if I can sit and talk to a person and enjoy conversating with them, and we can sit and laugh and talk for hours, or get in the car and drive and can drive for hours and have a conversation, that's what really helps me to get to know a person. Then, you develop love from them. I really don't know how to answer that question, because I never thought about it like that.
Okay.
Well, what does it look like to you? What would indicate? How would you know you were in love, or that the person loved you? How would you know?
How would I know the person loved me?
How would you know they loved you? How would you know you loved them?
Hey, sis, I like you.
You know what?
Why you looking like a deer in headlights?
Don't be
Excuse me?
Christine up. But no, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use my ex-wife for this, because I can use her as a perfect example. When I met her, I wasn't really attracted to her at first, because she was totally opposite from anything I ever dated or been around or anything like that. Anybody had an interest in. She was small. She wore like a size one or two or something like that. Very small, very petite, skinny, long hair with the weave thing going on. But what I found is that when we sat down and talked, we talked for hours. The first time we met, we sat down and we talked for hours, and we just got to know each other. And then we started to hang out and spend time with each other. And as a result of that, after about 6 months, I had an accident where I fell 25 feet from the top of a roof. And the doctors told me that I should be dead, totally paralyzed. I would never walk again. And they told her the same thing. And she said, well, bring them to my house. I'll take care of them. And right there, I said, I'm never going to find anybody like this. And it just really bonded us. So that, I guess I could say that's how I knew somebody loved me. Because
they were taking care of you in your time of need?
Well, the fact that they're saying that he's never gonna walk again, and she said, "Well, bring him to my house. I'll take care of him." And she didn't have to do that. I could have went. They could have took me back to my house. I could have been by myself. Most people, if you meet a person and they telling you this person is never gonna walk again, and you've just met that person, most people will be like, "Well, I'll check on you. I wish you well," or whatever the case may be. But that wasn't her reaction. And so for me, like I said, just after 6 months of just talking and we spent a lot of time together prior to that, getting to know each other. And like I said, I felt comfortable enough that we did spend so much time. But then when that situation happened, I said to myself, well, I know I'm not going to find anybody better than this. And it made me realize that somebody loved me enough to take care, to be with me, whether I could walk, whether I was handicapped, whatever the case may be. If she was willing to be with me and be in that situation with me, help me to go through it. And
okay, so at that point, did you decide that you loved her?
Right. I guess you could say it made me love her. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay.
I guess you could say that.
Herb, you've been quiet, so I'm gonna get you in here.
I'm sorry, I'm having difficulties. Were you speaking to me, David? Did you call?
Yeah, I said you haven't said much, so I'm gonna get you in here.
You're in the hot seat.
For me, I will start that answer like this. There's a song called "I Am a Rock" by Simon and Garfunkel, and in that song the lyrics go, "Don't talk of love, for I've heard the word before. It's hiding in my memory. I have no need of friendship. Friendship causes pain. It's laughing and it's loving. I disdain." I don't look for love in a relationship. I look for compatibility. I look for honesty. I look for integrity. Those, for me, are the principles and the bedrocks upon which I build my relationship, particularly with a female that I might be engaged with going for a lifetime or whatever the situation calls for at that particular time, whether it's just a sexual relationship or we're going to pursue something long term. Those are the things that I would build upon. And if love comes, such as it is for anybody, because love is not something you can define. Love is this nebulous concept that people keep throwing around. And if I were to ask 10 people what love is, I would get 10 different answers. So for me, it becomes, what are we doing for each other? Are we in this, similar to what Willie says, are we in this for better or for worse? Are we in this together, or are we in this for what the other can benefit from? If we're in this from what we can mutually benefit from, then we might as well just have a glorified friendship. But if we're going to actually have a relationship, then all that other stuff will come. It's just like money for me. If you do the right things, money will come. If you do the right things in a relationship, the love, the commitment, all of that will follow.
All right. Solar, talk to us.
Love is work. I mean, I've found out the hard way. Love is really work. And this is no punt, but take it how you want to. It's not omitting the hard work that comes with it. The hardness of being honest with yourself, the hardness that each other grow, the struggle of you ever evolving. To me, when I really think about love, and I've made the mistake of thinking that love looked one way. Being a domestic violence survivor, I thought that was love. Oh my God, knock me upside my head, call me outside my name. You love me, right? So what I had to find out is love is truly when you find out how much you love yourself, you pour into others. You begin to give when you don't have of energy. You begin to build off of the conversation, the sharing of energy. Love is, when I say work, it's what can you do together to make your bond stronger? How many breads have you broken together to make that peace? So to me, love is really, and I keep using the word work because it's not something that you can take off the shelf and be like, oh, this is nice, I love it today, and then I put it back tomorrow. That is not love. Love is something that you don't just dust off every now and then. Love is something that's constantly in use. Yeah. And when something is broken, it's repaired.
Some people have never experienced love. Some people have never actually experienced real love before. there's a lot of people out there who've never experienced real love.
Well,
So they don't even know. They don't even know how to accept it when somebody tries to give it to them.
I think some people are in love with the concept of being in love. So
That too.
and
I think kind of piggybacking off of what she said, I do believe love is an action word. And to me, I have been in situations where I decided to love somebody, and I've been in situations where I have fallen in love with somebody. But either way, both take work, commitment, dedication.
so when you
I want to hear from my sidekick. That's what you called him. I'm just messing with you. I want to hear from him because
you know what? I don't know. Right now, I can't even say that. I mean, I thought I knew what love is, but I've seen a couple of things recently that kind of makes me rethink it. I mean, one thing that I've learned recently is that everybody speaks of unconditional love, but really, when you look at
unconditional
love,
such thing.
Yeah, right. But that's something that I learned recently that I don't think that I really knew before. So right now, for me, I gotta kind of rethink of what love is, because I've always had this concept of what love should be or the way it should look. And recently, I've seen some things, and I could say I probably really don't know. Because I've seen some things where where they really have things where I look at the conditions and I'd be like, oh man, I could never do that, or I could never survive in that situation. Yet they're surviving and they're thriving. So for me, I don't know. I think it and possibly relook at what it is and what it should mean. Most of us get love from what we learn, from what we see, from what we read, from what we hear. I think looking at that from that concept, a lot of the things that a lot of things with love are designed to sell you on phone, or designed to get you to buy a certain product or get you to act a certain way. When you look at that, it kind of steers you in a way that someone that benefits other than the two people that's together would benefit from. So for me, I don't know. I think I would have to say I don't know. I really have to rethink it. And now with newfound knowledge, I think I can see clearer to a path of what it could be. But presently, I could probably say I don't know.
And you know what? I can go with what you're saying as far as some of the things that you said they're trying to sell you about love. And to me, love could be trendy. Like whatever's going on right now, the latest thing, and people see it, they think that's love. Whether it's couples on trips all the time, and that's a power couple. Oh, look at that love, black excellence. But you don't know the behind the scenes stuff. All of that stuff can look good, and it could be just good for show and tell. But you don't know, the hard work or the things that go behind that. And like Solar said, it's work. It has to be work. It's work. It's a business also. Communication.
True.
It's everything. It involves
I
a lot of things.
I will say I don't believe in unconditional love. I think that is a quality for God alone. I think some people's breaking point is much much more than other people, but I don't believe that in unconditional love. The closest thing to it in my mind is the love between a parent and a child outside of God.
Yeah, but even you see those relationships get broken.
That's why I said the closest thing. It still ain't unconditional love, even between a parent and a child. I think God alone only can possess that.
Hello.
Here come trouble.
Hi.
Hey, Gwendolyn, how you doing?
Hello.
Here come trouble. Here comes me and Gwendolyn been going at it all day today.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she sure did say she ain't missing this.
I told you I didn't care what it took to be here.
Miss Gwendolyn.
Yes.
Gwendolyn, is he a mess or what? Is Willie a mess or what?
But you know what? Honestly, sometimes he is so nice, and then other times he want to be just, he'll be agreeing with you, and then he'll turn around and he'll be like, but still. So I don't understand. But you agreeing with me, but you saying that though?
That's not me.
Miss Gwen, can I ask you a question? I'm gonna ask the ladies a question. Well, since David lets me take solar moments on his show, so this is shameless. Ladies, do you think that $50 is enough to go on a date? And okay, let me repose this. If a man
The
got
question
to
was,
ask,
can you go on a date with $50?
no, I'm talking to the ladies.
Can you go on a date with $50?
Where the order at? Can you go on a date? But a man who has to ask, can you? Why do you have to ask?
Because I wanted people to give me ideas. Because I wanted people to give me ideas on what they could do when a date for $50
because I was gonna say, here's the thing about that $50 date. Here's that thing about that $50 date. Don't open your mouth and say what you get ready to spend. Plan it and put it within your budget. We shouldn't know. If you're taking us on a date, we shouldn't know. Oh, I ain't spending more than $50 on her.
Oh, I don't say that. But that was
just saying. I know it wasn't. She asked the question. I'm putting it out there.
Right. But I'm saying
a man can take you on a $50 date.
The question
whole
was,
idea
can you go
you
on a
shouldn't
date
feel like you've been limited to no more than $50.
Right.
It was a question. It wasn't, I'm going on a date for $50. I said, can you go on a date for $50? And I just left it at that. It was a question.
Okay. But Willie, let's go back to the other
responded saying, yes, you can. You can do this. You can go on a picnic. You can do all these different things. And then some people said, well, I can't eat for $50. I can't go in the restaurant because that'll be my drink bill for $50, and all this stuff. And I said, I just read the comments because, like I said, I wanted to see the reaction and what people would put. And like I said, the creative people came up with ideas that you could do for under $50, which is what I was kind of looking for. But then other people, it showed that some people, all they think about is getting a free meal and they want to go out and eat. And I don't do dinner dates. So
it's that right there. It's that.
In my opinion, I think that being able to go on a $50 date depends on your standards. If you can go out and you can go out yourself for $25, to go out for $50 isn't a fair task. But if your standards are higher than $50, you could never make a $50 date. And your standards, what you normally do.
It had nothing to do with standards. The question was, can you go on a date for $50? Exactly, and that was all. It was just a question. And some people answered it like you said, absolutely. Some people even gave examples.
So what do her profile picture? What does Willie? See, I'm not gonna let you get away this time, because if you would have just asked the question talking about I'm asking for a friend, you would have got away with it. Then you went into because I'm looking at some of y'all profile pictures, and obviously, what was that comment about, Willie? I'm looking at some of y'all profile pictures. What you trying to say? These girls can't go out for $50? Because I'm just saying, we friends, homie. You ain't just stopped here. You don't be missing. You're not the victim.
I just followed up and I said, I looked at some of the people who said that they had to go to dinner, and from looking at their profile and their profile picture, I see why they wanted to go to dinner, and I just left it at that.
That goes back to you also jumping on the Kevin Samuels jump off and talking about how what's the women's dress size and stuff. Don't act like your questions come out.
I didn't say like you just about dress size.
You are very structured with your questions. So what you really want to know about?
Fit and cooperative and good spirit.
What?
Friendly, fit, and cooperative.
Cooperate with somebody who got a question.
And somewhat submissive. Then we good to go.
Submissive to a $50 date? That means you limited me and you limited my submission.
That's not what I do. I just asked. That was a question.
No, in other words, at the rate he got to ask, I'm limited to even find out if I want to be submissive to somebody who can't afford me. And I know I'm going to afford it a $50 date.
He's not saying can you afford it. He's saying can you make it? Because you can afford it.
Can you go on a date? I said, can you go on a date for $50? And a creative person will come up with things to do that you can spend $50 on and do a date. And what I said was I posted that dinner that I had with the lobster and all that stuff, and it was under $50. So being creative and knowing how to shop and do things, huh? Yeah, it was.
So
Could I cut that lobster in half? So half for me and half for her.
Let's act like we know this. Let's act what? Say that part again. The last
I said the lobster would have been cut in half, and it would have been half for her and half for me.
Oh,
she'll get a whole lobster.
Dude, you are not in the dating realm, are you? You're not trying to date nobody, are you? Like, not in the public, are you?
Why not?
You, because like then you turn around and say you don't even go on dinner dates.
I don't do dinner dates.
So like, the reason we brought you on this show is because your one post was the trigger, but you've been posting about dysfunctional relationships for some time. Don't go there, Willie. Me and you talk. You're my friend. You're my friend. And I think you needed a counselor to help us. Because if you're out there dating and you're posing some of these questions, what do you mean you don't go on dinner dates? So what do you do to collect data when you go on dates? So give a young person or any person who's out here that's trying to get to know somebody, what is your idea of a date?
Well, Willie, tell them why you don't go on dinner dates again.
I don't. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we'll start with that. The reason why I don't go on dinner dates, especially for a first date, is because you can't have a conversation with the person over dinner. When you go out to dinner, you're normally eating, they're eating, you're not having a full conversation. I want to get to know the person. I want to be able to spend time with that person. So I will go and we'll go to a park, we'll walk along the water and enjoy the waterfront or enjoy, places where I like water. So I'll go where there's places where water and we can grab a snack or something like that or ice cream or whatever and talk and get to know each other. You can't do that when you take a person out to dinner.
Come here.
Because after dinner, they basically your night is over. You basically, they're gonna be tired. You're gonna be tired because after you eat, people normally get tired. So I'm not taking somebody out spending money on them and don't get to know them. I want to get to know you first, and then I'll know if I want to. And then I'll know if I want to take you to dinner. I didn't say I don't. I don't do dinner dates.
Okay, so you do dinner dates.
I do dinner dates. I got on the first date.
Involved with a person.
Right. When I first meet a person, I need to know them before I want to know. So I know if I want to sit down and eat with them. I may not want to spend that much time or waste that much time. If you eat, and I can give a perfect example. I took somebody to dinner a couple of weeks ago, and this person, we got into a conversation. And the person started to exaggerate a little bit, and I actually called him out on what they said. And this person proceeded to scream at the top of their lungs in the restaurant. And I'm not gonna say what she was saying, but she was screaming at the top of her lungs in this restaurant. I wanted to crawl under the table. But I mean, those are the kind of things if I wouldn't have. Like I said, I don't take people on first dates to dinner, but because this was a special event that I was going to, I was out of town, so we went to dinner to eat. But the thing was, I don't do dinner dates because you don't know how that person is. You don't know, like I said, that situation. I'd never been out with that person before. I'd never been to dinner with them or anything. We've talked on the phone, we've communicated, and I've known them from a long time ago, and we just reconnected. And so I had to go somewhere and I invited them to go with me. And I said, well, we can go get something to eat we're going to go get something to eat when we get there. And so that's what we did. And so that's why I don't do dinner dates.
So let me ask this. So what's the difference of Willie saying he doesn't do dinner dates, but sometimes women say, well, I'm not going out on dinner first, whatever. We got to go to lunch first. Dinner means an intimate setting and all of that stuff. We can go for coffee or such and such. So what's the difference when a man says they don't do it compared to when a woman says, oh, I'm not going out to dinner with him first. We can grab coffee or we can go to lunch because it's a structured time and dinner could go on, can go on for hours. What's the issue, folks?
I don't think there's much difference because the thing about not wanting to go to dinner first, that for a woman, kind of the similar to what Willie's saying. You don't know this person very well. It usually involves them picking you up, which means they need to know where you live. And then you're kind of a captive audience until the date ends. Whereas if you're meeting out for coffee or something like that, you just feel safer. You're in a public setting. They don't have you in a small space by yourself like a car or something. They don't know your address at that point. You get a chance to get a feel for them and feel if you even feel comfortable enough to move forward. So I really don't have an issue with the idea. I don't do with him saying I don't do dinner dates for the first date. You know,
and
he's right. You don't know that person.
Lakia,
you don't know that person. You don't know what they might do.
Huh? I was answering Lakia's
I mean, they might be one of those people, they order the most expensive thing on the menu just because.
And that has happened to me too. That has happened to me too, where I've taken a person out to dinner and I was out of town. And so I went to meet this person that was out of town. And I said, well, I don't know any restaurants. Where would you like to go? And she picked this expensive restaurant she had never been to, but she knew it was expensive. She wanted to go there. I didn't know until we got there. Then I realized. And then, of course, she ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, and she sat there, ate her food, and then when it was over, she was ready to go home. And so there was really no conversation, no getting to know each other. And I dropped her off, and I just chalked it off. I said, "Hey, okay, well, it was nice meeting you," and that was it. But I spent at that dinner, it was like $150, almost $200 to just sit and watch somebody eat. Because of course you're not gonna have much conversation. You're not gonna have much conversation with a person. Huh? No, she didn't do nothing, but now I'm trying to go back in her house.
I was going to say, did she contact you after that?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was a free meal. It was a free meal.
But let's be honest. I mean, after that, would you have wanted her to contact you?
No,
almost wanted
and
her
that's
to
what I'm saying.
After that.
Exactly. Because like I said, I'm very observant. I pay a lot of attention to how people do things, you know. And for her to, and I felt set up. I felt like I was set up on it. So you know, in a situation like that, I knew right there. I knew I would, and I think I posted about that before too. I said, even when you go out and meet a person, you don't have to be rude and mean and nasty to them. Make the best of it, and when it's over, say goodnight and keep it moving. And that's what I did. It was nice meeting you. I drove all the way to Ohio, and I said it was nice meeting you. You know, I just want to come down and meet you, and I'm glad we had a nice time. You know, you take care. And she got out, went in her house, and that was it. Never heard from her again. Never talked to her. She didn't call me. I didn't call her. But you know, it was a learning experience for me. Huh?
The meal was good.
Did you enjoy the meal?
It was okay. It was okay.
Hey, you enjoyed $150 meal. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I wanted to ask a question, and to be honest, Will, you made me think about something that is a constant conversation about relationship, and you did even when you used the word urban families. And I do think that there's a difference in urban relationship versus other cultures, I guess I would use. And when you pose these questions and stuff, it's almost as if women forget that you all have feelings. So when you post things, it kind of got to me because I'm like, ooh, I don't know if you want, and I keep saying that kicked because he kind of kicked it off and me and you've had that conversation, but a lot of men are starting to speak up. And I kind of pick at even the guys over at his shop. I'm like, oh, all of a sudden y'all got these emotions and these feelings and y'all want to talk about what you're looking for in a woman. So, I mean, my question becomes is, where did that love go? Like, where did it go where Black men see women and they identify them as queen, or vice versa? Don't get me wrong, but I'm a woman, so I can't pose the question the other way. Where did the love go where we're not posting about how a profile picture looks, but we're posting about an intellect? Do we talk anymore? Like on the phone? Do we write letters? Like, is that love gone?
People don't. And that's why I talked about, like I said, when I go on a date, I go places where I can talk to a person, where I can sit, walk around, go to a museum and talk, you know, and you find out about people by taking them into different settings. If it's something you enjoy, like I enjoy museums. So I took a person out to a museum with me because I wanted to see the King Tut exhibit. Now that showed me this person was not into that. They said they wanted to go, but when they got there, they didn't enjoy it. They showed that they didn't enjoy it. They showed that they didn't want to be there. And so when it was over, thank you for joining me. You know, again, I'm always going to be polite and nice. And that was the last time I spoke to him and last time I saw him. You know, no, actually, I did see her later. That's
I was going to say, Will, man, what's the deal with these one and dones, man?
Because you find out a lot when you talk to people.
He just leave them out so he gets the right one.
You find out a lot, and the thing is, you find out if you're talking to a person for hours, especially in a museum, you're walking and talking and having conversation with a person in a museum. You start to get a feel for whether this person is feeling you and if you're feeling that person. You can't do that sitting at a dinner table. You can't have that kind of conversation or laughing and joking and being able to carry on like that for an hour, 2 hours with a person. And then afterwards saying, you know, would you like to go get something to eat? You know, and I actually was polite at the end of the museum. I said, hey, you want to go grab something to eat? You know, and it wasn't dinner. So I said, you want to go grab something to eat? And we can, you know, talk. And she said, well, no, actually.
Jack in the Box drive-through.
No, I don't do that. I don't do McDonald's. I don't do none of that stuff. I would have taken this somewhere decent. I wouldn't, you know. But
I'm just messing with you, really.
No, but it was funny because she said, "Well, no, I actually have an event to go to." You know, and I said, okay, cool. So I've left and went out to the waterfront. And when I pull up to the waterfront, she's sitting out there in a lawn chair, and I started laughing. And so I pulled up right in front of her, and I was sitting there watching her, and I got out and talked to her. I said, how was your event? And then she just sit there looking crazy. But because she really didn't have an event. Like I said, she wasn't feeling the museum. And she, from you know, just the conversation and things we were talking about, we didn't mesh at all. So when I did, like I said, I was being nice, and I said, well, you want to grab something to eat, you know? And she's like, no, I actually have an event to go to, and they're going to have food there. And I said, okay, cool. You know, well, it's nice meeting you. And shook hands and departed friends.
All right. I got another question, and I'm going to bring the big bad wolf into this one.
Uh-oh.
How does dating in modern times differ from dating about 10 years ago? What changed?
Oh, the expectations and the roles that people are playing in their respective relationships. We're in a time now where women have become economically independent, but they still hold on to old world values. And I was having this conversation with somebody, and this spawns off of post I saw. There's a woman and a man that were going out on a date. The woman says to the man, I don't have sex with men that I'm not married to. The gentleman ponders for a moment. He says, okay, fair enough. He says, I don't pay for dates with women that aren't my wife. Finances are safe for marriage. Now, she thought he was wrong. The question becomes, once people started, let me rephrase that. Once women gained their level of economic dependency and they started targeting men for two things: physical companionship and the ability to provide, men no longer continue to play that role. So that's where the love went. Men were rooted into the role that they serve for the most part, and most men are still playing that role. This is where you get into the red and blue pills, and I won't take this conversation in that direction just for the sake of brevity.
I'm sorry, can you back up a little bit? You said that when women gained financial independence, they started seeking men out to provide?
No, they started seeking men out for one of two reasons: either sex to have a kid with, or financial means to continue to do what men did, regardless if women were able to provide. This is why we're having the discussion now about $50 being enough. Solar said, you don't value me enough to take me on a date, a dinner date, which means that If you're not going to spend the unwritten, the unspoken word is you don't think I'm worthy enough to take to a more high-end restaurant, this is what we're not hearing. And if you don't understand what's not being spoken, then you can't call that out.
Can I put a little input
This is
on
why
this?
we're having the discussion about the
Please do.
$50 date because if money wasn't an issue, then $50 wouldn't matter. It would be just as
That's it.
Lily is saying.
I
We
want to
could
put
go
As long as you're
anywhere
having a
and
nice
have a
time.
date.
Please let Gwendolyn.
I want to put a little
Come on,
input.
Gwendolyn, spit it out, girl.
I'm gonna say my roots, my mom and my pops both came from the South, which Southern folks, they have very deep beliefs and roots and all that, and they still believe in a lot of things that society don't believe in. And that's called family values and purpose and reasonings and things like that. And that's why I was raised by two Southern folks. I ain't gonna say I'm perfect because I'm not. Ain't nobody perfect. But I was raised morally. And the way I see people grow up today, there's a lot of people growing up in broken homes and things like that where they don't get taught those values. They're not raised in the church. They're not raised in social groups that are geared toward raising young adults into adulthood positively. They don't have what a lot of us had. They had broken homes. They didn't have parents to teach them the way to go and the way it's supposed to be. I was raised when you find a mate, you're finding a mate that's working the same way you're working. Both my parents worked, so we had a good life. And that's the same thing that I thought that I was gonna find. But as I grew up on the south and east side of Buffalo, so I have two different glimpses of both sides. And it's like, I never found nobody that believed in working and gaining and achieving nothing in life. So therefore, that's why I never got married. I did have one child, and I'm trying to still find somebody that I can build and grow with. And it's still even harder now today than it was 30 years ago when I graduated from school and all that. Society has made it hard because they let anything and everything go, and they adjusted life to go with the times instead of trying to instill morals into people.
Now, how when we say society, but society consists of people. So, and oftentimes always we say cities or schools or neighborhoods, but it's the people that make society.
They all broke
It's
up though.
it's the people that make all of these different places. So when are we going to start taking
Neighborhoods.
accountability for each individual, and it starts with yourself?
Yep, no neighborhoods. There's no neighborhoods no more like it used to be. There's no
Yeah.
togetherness. There's nothing like it used to be. When we were kids, there was villages. There's no
Mm-hmm.
villages. Every man for themselves. There's nobody looking out for the little kids on the street. There's all drug users, and I'm not throwing kicking salt on nobody. I'm just saying what it looks like out there.
Well,
That's going to that's going to depend upon where you are, and this is a biblical proverb. President John F. Kennedy, deceased of course, said this, and I urge people, to take this forward and do what you want to with it, but apply it liberally. He said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." So the question becomes, if you want to see that, what are you doing to bring that about? See, I volunteer.
Look on my
I
page.
volunteer with the youth, and I talk about these type of things. I talk about how you treat each other.
Look on my
I talk
page.
about.
Look on my page.
I'm sorry. No, no, no. No, no. I'm not questioning you. I'm
I'm just
putting this out
saying.
there for the listening audience and people who will hear this coming for whenever they decide to listen to this. I'm not questioning what anyone does. We always ask this country, this question, pardon me, well, how did we get like this? All you have to do is look no further than your own home. If your own home is not functioning the way you want it, then the problem lies within. It lies within those walls, that foundation, and that roof. So if what you're doing doesn't match what you want, then you can't look for your next door neighbor to help you because you're not doing it yourself.
We still
It's the
got
equivalent
family
of
day
somebody
every
complaining about
single
somebody else always
Saturday.
being healthy.
Every single Saturday, you come down to my daddy house. That's where my family at. Every single Saturday, every holiday, we still got it together, and we invite whoever want to come visit to show them that we still doing it, and y'all should do that too. Not to put us on a pedestal.
Yeah, but
you know,
believe
no, can
but
I
the
just
thing,
interject because you both said something. And they call me Solar the community's daughter, right? So as the community's daughter, i.e., yes, that means that I'm a part of many different sectors of the community that I've been affected by. You said something a minute ago. I didn't know where you're gonna go when you said it was biblical. Like church wise, dude. And I say dude like that because that's how I have to talk to my young folks. Dude, church wise, that whole scene of community has changed. So the morals and the structure of what we once had as a foundation, that community has changed. It's
yes,
very lenient now.
yes,
When you talk about neighborhoods and the neighbors in that community, wherever you are, the neighbors are out for self. No, I'm not looking out for the kid. I'm not looking out for the neighbors. Whatever community that you are in right now, there has been a shift, a dynamic shift. And one of the reasons that I asked where does love go, because that is even a form of love that has shifted, and it has affected our relationships, that has affected our children. And it's to the point where we don't sit down and have these adult conversations with each other. So when you all said that, breaking it down to in the institutional schools, David, when we were at Bryan and Stratton, there was a different, that's when we were on Main Street, right? So we had like real conversations with students there. It was different. But now you're doing online learning. Everything is online. It's no socialism. There's no sharing of oh, did I use that word? My bad. There's no socialization. That's a better word to use nowadays. And it's drawing us away from what core love is. We're not looking in each other's eyes no more. We're not, like you just said, we're not gathering together. So this generation that's coming in is really getting the shorter end of the stick. So Willie, sometimes I look at you because you deal with so many young people. You influence so many young people, especially in the sports sector, and they're looking to find out how do they make their families and themselves whole as young men. And those young women are looking to say, wow, how do I be that fit woman to for what you're talking about? Because they're watching. So sometimes I just think these conversations are necessary.
Solar, let me jump in for one moment. And I'm going to say this, and I want people to understand exactly what I mean when I say this. They should not be looking to Willie for that answer. He's the wrong person to look to. You know why? Because
he's a mess.
No, because he only spends a few hours a day with them. The person that they should be looking to is their mother and their father. And far too often, and David can verify this, the parents are pushing their responsibility and jobs off of raising their children to the school. This is why we always hear that the schools aren't doing enough. And I can say this because I've been in schools volunteering. This is why I am always a staunch person of asking, what are you doing for your community? Because if you ain't doing it for your community, then don't ask no goddamn body else to do it.
I bet you at least 25% of the kids ain't got no mom or dad that's raising them.
Exactly.
But that's not the problem of the society, because the society is not making that decision.
Somebody has to step up. Somebody has to step up to the plate and try to reach out to people who don't have that role model, that example.
Yeah, because are we just going to flush our community down the toilet, or are we going to step in and do something if we see a need?
Programs, right. In my programs, that's what I focus on.
Pull it back in their pockets. Most of them people out there getting them kids is getting money because they get money in their pocket. It is a majority. It is a lot of them are doing it for the love in their heart, but the majority are doing it because of the money that's coming in their pockets.
And that's true too, Gwendolyn. A lot of people take on took on foster care and all that stuff because they see, depending on the kid, if it's a state kid or whatever, $1,000 coming in a month. So they get 2 or 3 of them, and they say, hey, this is gonna pay for my mortgage, this is gonna pay for my Lexus, and this is gonna do that. So some people not in it for the right reasons, whatever, as far as that. But also when we think about the community, and the kids that's with their natural parents, you can't say shit to these kids out of their pocket without them cussing you out. So at what point you say, yeah. So at that point you say, like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it moving, and it's unfortunate like that. It's like that.
I see them out there. There's a lot of them out there. Ain't got no respect. Ain't got no guidance. Ain't got nothing. Nothing but
that's because of who they're being raised by. That's the surroundings, and in my program, that's what I talk to my kids about all the time. And Sola knows about my programs because I've done programs in her school. And one of the things I talk to all the kids about is surround yourself with better. That's a key thing I talk about with them, because the thing is, the people who they surround themselves with, they know the influences that they have on them. And I said, sometimes when you want to do better, you have to find someone who's going to be a better example for you. So sometimes you're going to find yourself moving away from the friends that you have now and making new friends, or socializing with different people who are going to be a better example for you and being a mentor or giving you some examples of how you could be better in your life. I said, and some of your friends are not going to be happy with that, and they're going to keep trying to pull you back, which is called crabs in the barrel.
Sabotage you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crabs in the barrel, and they're going to keep trying to pull you back. But again, you have to learn to. So if you want better, you have to learn to surround yourself with better by finding mentors and people who are doing the things that you're interested in doing. And that's how I learned. Me and my stepfather, I couldn't stand my stepfather. And one day he came and made me get in the car and go with him, and he went to collect rent money from his rental properties. And I was looking at this money. He kept piling it up on the seat. Every house he came out of, he piled it up on the seat. He became my best friend that day, because I was like, where are you getting this money from? And he said, those houses that I came out of, he said, I buy them at city auction, and I'm collecting the rent. And I said, they give you all that money? I was 13 years old. He said, yes, they give me this money to live in the house. And he became, I couldn't stand him, because I was always the man in the house. Because I was
you upside the head with that money.
I was the man in the house. So when he came into the house,
why couldn't you stand him? Why couldn't you stand him?
Because I felt he was trying to take my place as man in the house. I was from 5 years old when my mother left my father until he came into the house. I was the man in the house. So then he came in, he's giving, directions and telling me what to do. And of course, my first response was, and that's why, like I said, working with kids, first response was, how do you piss him off? You ain't my daddy. And I would say that to him because I knew it would get to him. And like I said, and I would ignore him. I wouldn't listen to him. But he always saw me. I would go out, wash cars and selling fruit at fruit stands. I was always doing things to make money. And so he made me get in the car with him. He made me get in the car. He dragged me and put me in the car with him. And he went and collected that rent. And when I asked him, I said, they give you all that money? He said, yes, this is the rent they pay me to live in that house. And he became my best friend that day because he had something I wanted. And that was surrounding myself with better, with somebody who's going to give me a better opportunity. He said, well, if you stay in school, because I was always getting kicked out of school. And he said, you stay in school and you do your work, I'm going to show you how to do what I do. He died a year before I bought my first house, but I ended up owning 20 houses in the city of Buffalo. Based on what he taught me.
Good for you.
Because he knew that I wanted, he saw that I was always trying to do things to, make money and hustling. And so he showed me, and he knew that was his way of creating a bond with us, because he knew that if he showed me what he was doing, that would make me want to get close to him, and then we could have a relationship. And that's what we ended. Like I said, he became my best friend that day. But before that, I couldn't stand him because he had nothing. You know what I mean? He came in, and he was with my mother. He's giving the directions. And I'm like, you ain't my daddy. How you just gonna come in here and start telling me what to do? And you trying to be the head of household. And so that.
How did your mother respond to that?
Right, I was just about to say. So how did you think that affected her?
As far as what?
When you behave like, and this is a perfect example. Go ahead, sis.
Your your resistance to him. I'm not finding the right words that I want to say, but
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. And see, for me,
how
like,
did that affect your mother, and how did your mother take that? How did your mother react
Where
to
was
it?
the love?
there was me and my mother always had, we've never had a real good relationship. But for me, when he came into the household, what I would do is I would get up, go to school. When I got out of school, I went to the park. I had to be home when the street lights came home, so I sit on the porch until
So
it
you
was time
just
for me to go to
avoided
bed.
him.
Exactly.
You just avoided him.
I did that
And
until
and your mother didn't try to bridge that gap. Your mother didn't try to bring you all together.
No, because she knew I wasn't gonna do it.
You were how old when he entered your life?
Like 11, 12 years old. But I was 13 when he took, like, I was about 12, and I was going on 13, and he took me out, and that's when he showed me what he was doing. Because he saw me going out washing cars and selling fruit at a fruit stand. He always saw me trying to find ways to make money, and I wasn't stealing. I was never like doing stealing and nothing like that, but I was always trying to find ways to make money. And so he saw that.
Willie, let me interrupt you.
Let me show you how to make some real money. Let me interrupt you
for one moment.
Yeah.
David, now recall on a previous show when I said that when a boy reaches about the age of 11 or 12, where should he go? And the pushback that I got, and we see exactly why I said what I said.
What did you say? Because
I'm not made that statement, the women said, how dare I say that a boy go with his father, in this case a man, who can show him and can bring him into manhood, because women can't do that. And we see the full results of what I said, why I said what I said.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you have somebody over here who agree.
No, I agree with that.
The kid's here.
Keep in mind, I'm a single dad.
Yeah.
I raised my daughter. My daughter at that age with her mom, it would have created different than what she is presently. So on that, I agree.
It would have what?
Because now with my daughter, I can see the masculinity in my daughter. I can see the things that my daughter being raised by a man has that she shouldn't have had, that a woman could have possibly curtailed or just different. So on that, I agree with the boys beyond the doubt.
But you did it. But are you saying you did it?
Oh, beyond the doubt, I did it. But I can see the problem.
So my point about that is, it's not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah, it could be done, but you're going to be raised in a manner.
But what you're missing,
that's like telling your kid, you can graduate with D's or you can graduate with A's, right? If you accept these,
that's not the same thing.
Fine. But if you want,
that's not the same thing. Look, this is
hold up, folks. Hold up. One at a time.
If you were to look at it from that point, you would say she was a B student. But if I had done different, or if she had went with her mother, you're talking about a student that could have been an A+ student. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yes,
could her mother have taken her?
Her mother could have taken her. Her mother could have taken her if I was still heavily involved. So yes, she could have. Could she have done the job that I've done? Maybe not, because of finance. Finance plays a major part. But could she have done it if I had still been a father?
So did you prevent the mother from?
No, not at all.
Did you?
And you just
not at all. But
so this is my point.
I could have done more.
If the parent is not there, what are we supposed to just give up? You can't give up.
I could have done more to make that relationship happen. I could have done more to make that relationship happen.
So almost with to me as the parent, as the custodial parent, as the parent taking care of the child or whatever, if the other parent is not available or absent in whatever way, it is you can't just say, well, I'm a woman, I can't raise a boy to be a man, or I'm a man, I can't raise a girl to be a woman. That's BS. So it's up to you to be vigilant
Yeah, I'm a mother.
There's enough of them.
It's up to
and there's
you.
enough males who's willing to take that role that you can make
It's
it happen.
up to you to be vigilant
I'm a
about
mother
the
of 4
images
boys.
that you put in front of your child. If you have a male child, don't bring negative, toxic, destructive men into your child's life.
Amen.
Melvin.
So if
women.
you have a male child, maybe those
that is-
coaches are a good example. Maybe those uncles are a good example. So it's incumbent upon you, but you're still the one that's responsible for it. You still did that.
You're right. But here's the thing. I'm responsible, but if the question becomes, could have done a better job? Absolutely. I could have done a better job.
We all could do a better job,
making
regardless
sure
if
that
we're
she
raising
spent more
boys
time
or
with
girls.
her
We
mom.
only can do what we
But
know to do with the tools we have.
But what
No.
do you
We have
want? Do
to
you
look.
want excellence or do you want self-power? Because
I would
me
strive
personally,
for
I want
excellence.
excellence.
I don't care
And
if
when
it's
I
a boy
look
or
at
girl.
that-
I'm striving
when I
for
look at
excellence.
but this is what I'm saying. If you want that boy to be 100%, man, you have to have.
What makes him 100%?
I mean, come on, keep in
with
mind
his daddy.
what I do. I see. Matter of fact, Mr. Price.
If his
Mr. Price,
daddy
you
is
own
not
property,
available,
right? How many young men now
sorry.
drywall?
I can't hear you
His
breaking
daddy
up.
ain't available, but I'm sure there's someone who's available.
so give my child over
Who can get that
to a
child
man
for-
because I can't do it.
No, you
Four
put them
boys.
in
I'm a mother.
you put them. You use the resources available that where men are located, so he
Okay.
can be surrounded by men.
Okay.
Fraternal organizations.
I can agree with
Boys
that,
and girls
but
clubs,
that makes me the
pals.
one responsible for seeing that
Right.
happened.
Yep.
Right, but dude, what happens is,
It
and that's what I
makes you
said
the one
earlier. A
responsible
lot of
for the
times
beginning.
we don't use the resources and surround our kids with the resources that are available to them. And so that's been the problem, is that you have the mother trying to raise the son or the father trying to raise a daughter. A father can't teach a girl to be a girl. He can't teach, just like a mother can't teach a boy to be a boy, a boy to be a man. But if he's raising that daughter, he can get her involved in the Girl Scouts. He can get her involved in sorority organizations who do things and teach her how to be a woman or what is expected of her as a woman. And these organizations are organizations that will give her that positive role model that she may not see in her neighborhood. That's why I was talking about surrounding yourself with better. There's resources out there that we don't use in our own community that can help us to raise our children.
Let me say this. Let me say this. Let me say this. Then I want to bring Lakia in. So sometimes we say that, but there's a thing called real life that you don't have time to follow up on those resources all the time. If you're a parent that's working 1, 2 jobs, some 3 jobs, whatever, and it's just you got to make time, but sometimes it's just not that easy if you're running from job to
who don't make
to
time.
job.
What happens to a lot of times that they don't make time for their children? What happened to those children? They're running around, they're running the streets. They get into trouble. So you have to make time. You have to say, well, you know what? You're gonna have to suffer a little bit, and I'm not gonna work for that 3rd job, and I'm gonna make sure you get to the Boy Scouts, or make sure you get to the sorority function that they have.
Willie,
yes, sir.
if bills need to be paid and you're at the minimum and every dollar counts, whatever, some people just not gonna say, well, I'm gonna miss work today, so I can sign you up for the Boy Scouts or whatever the case is. They just gonna say, as long as you got a secure house.
Dave, as a mother of 4, I have, and that's probably why I am who I am today. I have 4 young men, and one of the mantras that I had to teach them, it has been hard, but I teach them that a man don't work, he will not eat. Now, no, can I work like a man? At one point in time, you couldn't tell me I couldn't. But what I did is I tried to build an example of what hard work and ethics were to them. And I do agree to a minimum about getting them involved into certain things in the community. We can lean on our churches, we can lean on them, but it's really a foundation that you start at home. And whether it's a parent absent or not, it's really about the foundation that we set at home. And I think that one of the hardest things is One of my sons, the older son, done been to jail. Who can I blame for that? His father or me? Both. You know, one of my kids just graduated. Who can I claim? Me or the father? Both. Because we both brought them here. But I think right now, no, I can't teach them how to be a man, but I can teach them an example of hard work by showing them, giving them examples. And I think being very transparent on don't make another woman a single woman. Don't do this to somebody else. Don't put yourself in a position where you're not in your child's life. That embedded in a child in modern day life, and then doing your best to be the best you can be. I think that's what gets my sons through every day. Are they perfect? Heck no. But can I say I raised some respectful boys? Yes, I have. And that took once again, that's love. It took a lot of work. And you're right, you got to make time. But Willie and everybody on here, I keep picking on Willie, but it's not easy to make that time when you're being pulled at. It's not easy. So sometimes you got to build relationship with people who you may have to bite your tongue with sometimes. Whether it's the principal, your neighbor that you hey, can you just make sure they don't burn the house down? And that's hard to do in today's society. But it's hard, especially raising our young men. I think sometimes you had it easier with a girl than I had with boys, because girls are expected to live a certain way, and black young men, the results are what they are. But black young men and the endangered species, but that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, my girl would be my girl without knowing. You would probably at times you would think she's a guy. My daughter ain't backing down. My daughter ain't running from the fight. My daughter, odds against her, she's still gonna say, whereas a man, I should be looking at her like, yo, baby, you can't win them all. This nigga this size, you can't do it. But my daughter, man, she willing to lose, and man, I'll be back tomorrow. Whereas but that's a guy trait. That ain't a trait a woman should have.
Right.
You
That's not,
I mean?
yeah.
Because
what trait does she have that you feel like she doesn't? Like
my daughter ain't backing down. My daughter ain't. She could win, lose, or draw. Like we were brought up. See, me, you gotta remember, on our generation, you could lose a fight. I'm showing up tomorrow.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But my daughter, but as she has to know, hey man,
you're breaking up.
Got those traits. I hear my daughter sometimes, and I had to pull my daughter away. Like, come on, baby, yo, I might be able to win, but I don't think you can. And she just. But those masculine traits, she shouldn't have. She should have been.
When you say that,
been in a position where somebody else said, "Hey, listen, you gotta..." Go ahead.
When you say that basically you basically, it sounds like you're saying your daughter doesn't back down from a fight.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, it's not that. But my daughter's in a relationship now, and she's the man in the relationship. She has a lot of masculine traits. She watched an alpha male raise her, and she essentially has a lot of traits of an alpha male.
And so do a lot of women.
Because I guess
right, and she.
My daughter.
Hold on. Before we get there,
yeah, I guess, and that's where I'm going with that. I have 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters and 2 sons.
Okay.
And my 4 daughters, they're not backing down from nothing. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, but that's
I was right here. I've
I've
always been here. So that's their personality. As a matter of fact, the way I look at it, that's just personality traits they took from their fathers.
You know what back down at? Maybe
that's what men are for.
Finding the right guy.
What does the man in their life do?
You know, can I just jump in?
I want the right guy to get a chance to say something quickly. Yeah. She hit me up. She want to say something. She's been waiting for a minute. Then we can go back. This conversation ain't going nowhere. We still.
Lakeisha look like she out on a date.
She is out on a date.
No, I'm in a car. I had to drive.
Not with a paper cup.
Yeah, no.
She got the red cup.
Coffee. It's coffee in this cup. But I had to drive to Albany because my daughter going to Albany to college. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk before I start going in and out because I'm on the road. But I mean, I've been listening. I've been missing everybody. I miss everybody, but I've been so busy raising kids, taking care of kids, because I have a lot of kids. So anyway, I just wanted to share. There's several things that came up like I said, I have a daughter that's going to college. I have another one I have to take next week. And just to say, so that's and
Oh,
You break it up now.
You broke
okay, I'm
up.
back. Am I back? Am I back?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I raised 3 boys and 3 girls. My oldest is 29. My daughter next is 21, 18, 16, 15, 14. Now, I'm going to share that I had my son at a young age. So nobody can take away my testimony. I had my son at a young age, and I had to get my life together and raise my son. My son has a beautiful, his father's side of the family loved them people, but in the beginning, they were very outspoken, very disrespectful. And I've said this, I'll say it out loud, I don't care. They were very disrespectful. And I made it my business to raise a son that was not going to be a disrespectful young man. And I had to do that as a woman. And I had to make sure I stayed on top of him as far as how his character was as he was growing up to be a respectful young man. And today I can say he's received like 7 awards, been in Air Force, successful in life because of what I did as a parent to make sure he didn't come off his mouth any kind of way to adults, that he would be a respectful young man. And I got to say, I have to give kudos to myself, but number one is that from God himself that taught me how to be that for him. And that's the one thing I feel that we're not saying enough of, is that we as parents, we think, okay, we're parents, we got this. No, we need the Father to direct us how to be a parent, because we weren't always taught how to be parents from our parents. I was not taught how to be a parent. My grandmother raised me. Then I went to my mother raised me, and I love my mom. No shade to her whatsoever, but she did not have the tools and to teach me how to be a mother. So I had to pray and ask the Father, how did he want me to be to my kids? And that's how we have to be with our children. It's not just we got to be like, oh, I know what to do. No, we don't know what to do, because every single one of my kids have a different personality. They all are different. They have their different characteristics. And it's like, Lord, what do I do with this one? And then I have teenagers all at the same time. And it's like, now I got to pick and choose my battles. So when people try to say, oh, a man can't raise a daughter, or a woman can't raise a man, I can't teach them everything, but I'm trusting God that he's going to put them in put people in their life, if it be at school, sports, after school program, a job that they get, whatever, another family member, a church member, someone, like there are programs out there that I'm grateful for. Like Willie has a good program. There was another one that Modi Cox had out there that my sons were a part of. The AAU basketball teams that my sons are a part of. Everybody is helping put little pieces together in their lives. I couldn't do it by myself. That's why they say it takes a village to raise a child, because it does. And that's the fact that I just trust God that the things that I can't teach, he will put people in their lives to teach them, or he will drop that nugget. Because I remember all my kids, I'd be like, Lord, what do I do? And then my oldest son, he was in high school, acting like the big man on campus, not doing his work. And I could tell that something's changed in his life. And the Lord gave me what to say to him, and I said it, and he was able to receive it and do better. So we have to keep that foundation with the Father teaching us how to be parents, even because we don't always have the right answer. And so then that goes back to where I want to share about unconditional love. I do believe unconditional love exists. Just because it did not exist with the people you thought it was going to exist with, doesn't mean that it's not real. It's just so happened that person you just didn't have unconditional love for. I feel like that there is an unconditional love that God has created, but we just haven't allowed ourselves, or we haven't just experienced that. But I can honestly say, I'm speaking for myself, I believe that I have unconditional love because I've been hurt to the core, where core should have never been touched. And I love that person to this day and will still love them, because I rather take the lesser route, or I'll rather, humble myself, or I'll rather, just be like, listen, I love you regardless. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm back dating, or it doesn't mean I'm back with this person in my life every day. no, but it doesn't. But it does not take away the love that I have for that person. If they need me,
Well-
I'm there.
Well,
If they need me, I believe that I can still be a genuine person, and that's what unconditional love is.
Well-
Unconditional love is not what I think people are trying to make it out to be. It's simple. Just still give respect, with regardless if you want to give, like, regardless of what's going on in life.
yeah. Well,
let me get this
when you
straight.
say that, when you say that,
your feelings will be the same. Am I right? You're saying no matter what that person does, your feelings will be the same. Which means no matter what condition is created, you still have that same amount of love.
Still love
Yeah, I ain't got that.
And that's the part that I'm trying to say, that there is a place that we can get there. And I believe that's the part where we have to allow ourselves to get into a vulnerable space. And we're so busy keeping these walls up. So Will, I want to share with Will, I think Will has been in so many, been in so many different hurt situations. I got a love for Will. Will's my guy. He's my guy, my buddy. That,
That's my
I don't
baby.
know if this is a popo. I don't know if this is a popo.
Lakeisha.
So,
Lakeisha.
listen, I believe that he's been hurt so much and has been dealt with a lot of treacherous women. Women can be treacherous.
so her cracks up.
Women can be treacherous. We gotta stop acting like women can't be treacherous because they can.
Doesn't that mean there's a bunch
Women,
of
he's been hurt. He's had some hurtful situations.
Lakeisha.
If he's been hurt that many times, doesn't that mean there's a bunch of treacherous women?
No.
There's a bunch of them then.
No.
That could just mean that there's some healing in his part that he needs to
Okay,
check
but
something
if
different.
these situations that he mentioned has happened over and over and over again.
He keep attracting over and over again the same thing. Change something about yourself, attract something different.
That means that they're
But
out
you know what
there.
it is?
But I'm
think
too
it's like
nice.
this.
I'm too
You
nice.
can't keep doing the same things you can't keep doing the same things and expect a different result.
Insanity.
That's the one that you can't keep doing it. So you have to switch up your thought process and sit back and think about it right. I would be saying for anybody.
So maybe you
anything
should
in
take
life
him
is
on a
a risk.
$50 date. Will.
Lakeisha.
I'm gonna move
Maybe
up
you
to
should take him on that $50 date.
$60. I'm moving up to 60 because y'all might want something to drink.
Take him on
It was less than $50.
It can't be alcohol. Not for $50.
Ah, there go that cup. No, that ain't the same cup.
It was less than. It's a coffee in this cup. I promise.
I got you.
It's coffee. But no, it's
Coffee, brown liquor, it look about the same.
Yeah, right. Now I'm
got that hen dog in there.
There you go. Anything can happen.
I'm drinking Ciroc. Y'all gonna see Ciroc in my cup. There ain't gonna be no dirt. I ain't trying to get no hair on my chest.
Lakeisha. I
But this
got one
coffee
question
today.
for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Lakeisha,
Yes.
my question is for you. You cannot say that statement. You my girl and I'm sticking up for the women.
Right.
But what you said out of your mouth, you can't mean that.
What's
Which
that?
one?
You saying that
You're right.
it's a such thing as unconditional love.
I've been, and I'm being transparent with this, so that's my testimony, and I have no problem sharing it. I have been molested as a young girl by 4 different individuals.
Damn.
And I promise you, to this day, I talk to every single one of them, and I love them, and I forgive them for what they've done. See, when people talk about women that are promiscuous and stuff like that, because when you are touched, when you inappropriately went before your time when you should have never been touched, and then you have to heal from that, and that demon wants to ride you, that sometimes can cause issues in life that people don't understand. But I overcame it by, saying, I'm going to love this person, and I talk to them, and I love them, and I can still be who I need to be for them if necessary. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying something that I haven't done. I'm saying it's something I've done. And that's I know it's real.
So look here. So you saying that, and you accepted them. Who said these same people? Who said these same people ain't continuing that pattern, and they just keep on doing it and getting away with it?
I can't speak for nobody else, but I have to live my life. I have to do what I need to do for me, and that is to forgive them.
And some people are not cut like that.
But no, but the sad thing is, this is the thing, you can be cut like that if you allow yourself to go into that vulnerable space. And that's what I'm saying. And then the other thing is this: everybody wants to put everybody in this bubble. I mean, like, okay, so you got this bubble of black women, like Herb tried to say earlier, or a woman that's, more financially stable and educated, because now this is how she's operating. That's not everybody, every woman's story that's financially stable and educated. That's not true.
That's true.
And the fact that y'all want to say, oh, statistical, you know what? To your statistics, but the fact that I know every woman is not the same, just like every man is not the same. And the fact that every black woman, and it's like we put black women in a bubble to white women. White women are just as treacherous as black women can be. Chinese women, Puerto Rican women. Puerto Rican doesn't matter. A treacherous person is a treacherous person. Period. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. Nothing. And I believe every man can say they've been dealt a hand with any type of ethnicity. So what I'm saying is that you can't put everybody in a bubble. And I would appreciate, and that's what Will is doing. He's vetting every woman he dates. So you got to appreciate him for that. At least he ain't being a jerk and sleeping and screwing with all these women and trying to hold on to something that ain't true.
Very true.
And be like, you know what, it ain't work out. Thank you for the dinner. Thank you for, the conversation. Yep. But moving on. Most men are still trying to hit it and quit it, still trying to hit it and just want to keep that little side relationship going on for what? When it doesn't have no substance. And so that's why I appreciate that he ain't being that kind of man. You know what I mean? So at least keep looking for your queen. I'm not going to say you should be right. And then if you don't want to spend 50, okay, sometimes you did spend over 50. Sometimes you did it. And that's how it is in dating. I date. I'm a single woman. I date. And I have men that spend $150 on me. I like lobster. I like steak. So, and then I have men that will go to Buffalo Wild Wings. So it's like it's either way, or we go to breakfast. It's like you just feel like each person is important to you. You know what I mean? And but the thing is, I'm allowing myself to vet that guy to see if that's who I want to be with. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways, in my opinion.
Yeah, funny.
And I'm assuming the male has no bearing on how you view him, correct? I'm assuming the male has no bearing on how you view him, correct?
Yes, the bill has no bearing on what?
The male has no bearing on how you view him, and how you view him as a potential candidate.
No, not at all. Not at all, because...
So you look at the guy that would take you to Burger King the same way as you would look at a guy that would take you to Red Lobster.
She ain't going to Burger King.
No.
Absolutely.
You ain't going to no Burger King.
I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you why. See, that's another thing. That's another piece of this puzzle for me. I'm going to share with who I am with y'all. I don't care. I'm a woman that I take care of me and mine. I am, like David said earlier, a relationship is a partnership. It's a business. I'd rather be with a man that can at least be willing to do something with me. There's some men that got money that don't do nothing. They just want to sit in the house and do nothing.
Can't be with them either.
But they have no conversation. You can't laugh about nothing. They're dry. But then you got a man that said, let's go to Burger, get some fries, and get a shake,
let's go to Walmart.
You're right. Get a pie and get some cheesecake, whatever. Let's go make some s'mores and have a
It's
ball.
1 o'clock in the morning. Let's go to Walmart.
Sound like y'all dating Sherman Klump, man.
Right. And we be going out and going to Walmart. Right. I love one of my exes. We would go to Walmart as a date, just hanging out at Walmart, just chilling. Because it's about the company. It's about being able to have somebody that you don't mind being around on a consistent basis. And that's the part where. That's where I'm like, that's the part where I feel like people are always trying to be like this. Oh, it can't be like this, or it can't be like this, or it has to be like this, or it has to be like that. Now you didn't cut yourself off from really being able to explore and have something real.
On that note, I do agree with you there, because I think
let me interject 1 second. I own a business, right? For someone to come into my business with the amount that I have invested in my business, you can't come into my business short. It'll offset the balance. So if you're saying it's like a business, no one can come to you. No one can come to your business and make an attempt at becoming an equal partner without their finances being there. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand how that wouldn't upset the balance of the business if the partner coming in isn't already coming in with an equal thing.
See, the thing is, because everybody's important. And that's when you think about a business, you got the CEO, you have the trustees, the board, then you got your workers, the laborers, then you got the people that's just the doorman. Everybody's valued. So that's the part. You got to make sure, you got to see where that person can fit. And you can't be, oh, you don't come like this and then you like this. No, sometimes you might be more than the other, but it doesn't mean they're not valuable. You just got to find where they fit. If they fit, if they don't fit, then okay, then it don't work out. If they're valuable
in that position.
Right. If they're valuable in that position, exactly. It may not be the exact amount.
Secretary can't do what the guys in practice.
It's true. So that's why you got to find where that person is. Well, let me give an example.
What I'm saying is, you're talking equality, right? You're saying they can come to the table with less, and it becomes right?
No,
I'm saying that
he could come to. No, I'm saying he could come to the table with less, but he can work his butt off. He could come to the table with less, but I promise you that place will be clean at the end of the day. So you got to appreciate the other pieces that they bring to the puzzle, not just the financial piece, but because you can't find loyalty. You can't pay for loyalty. You can't pay for loyalty. You find a person that's loyal.
You can't.
But they don't got a lot of money, but they loyal to you and got your back when something like you like when you got to get something done or open up a business first thing in the morning. They there that show up to work every day. You can't pay for that. But they don't have a lot of money, but they're loyal. You can trust them. Trust. You can't pay for trust. But you got that. But that person is trustworthy. I promise you. Let's find. There's too many people are treacherous these days. But I can find somebody that I can leave my purse. But if I can find I can leave my purse around and my money ain't missing. I'd rather have that person there than somebody that got the same equality and they're trying to still be greedy and take mine too. That's the thing.
Okay, my question becomes. Who would more likely steal from you? The person that has it or the person that doesn't have it?
You'd be surprised.
Man, greed is greed. I have some
Some people do it for opportunity.
Right. You can't. Rich people
I said most likely. We're not talking finite examples. We're talking most likely.
You have to look at it from an individual. You have to look at it from an individual basis.
Individual basis. Absolutely. What about the dude?
Because you're not dating. You're not dating the masses. You're not looking to start a relationship with the masses.
That becomes completely different from everybody else. But when we're speaking of generality, right, and this is how it started, men and women, and we're speaking in generality. When you're speaking in generality, man, more than likely the person that got it ain't gonna do it, and more than likely the person that don't got it will do it.
This shit is terrible.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I'm gonna say this. Remember the guy there's a lot of people that have been out there investing, saying he was investing people money, but he wasn't. He was stealing their money. He was rich. He had money. You know what I mean? So that's the part where it's an individual. That's why you can't. That's the problem with a lot of people today. They'll see somebody that looks like they got money, and they'll highly esteem that person as if.
Oh yeah, that's that.
They'll highly esteem somebody that got money, but they'll look at the person that don't really got money and be like, oh, stay away from that person. But the one that got money, the one that's gonna stab you in the back and take your money too.
Did you hear about the lady that killed that guy that won all the millions of dollars?
Exactly. Well, I don't know.
She kept saying she has so much money, but they said she killed the guy that won all them millions of dollars in the lottery.
And she wanted his money too. Greed is greed.
Yeah, she said she didn't need his money because she was so wealthy. But it turned out in the end that she did kill that man and buried him in his own house underneath the earth.
Horrible.
That's so crazy.
Got to deal with real situations.
but she had money.
But I don't know if that's rare, but I don't think that's rare at all. I believe the rich has been stealing from the poor for a long time. That's why that the Robin Hood story had to start from somewhere. The rich has been stealing from the poor, from the middle class and the poor for years, riding on his back.
Hold on. I've had this conversation many times.
Does somebody have
the same question?
Facebook open at the same time?
Somebody got something open double.
Yeah. Something going on.
I ask the same question all the time. Was Robin Hood a thief?
They said he used to build the rich and give to the poor. That's what
does that make him a thief?
No, made him a
redistribution of wealth.
It made him
It makes him
what they call thieves.
No, the reason why it made him a thief, I'm gonna tell you why it made him a thief. Because he did it, he stole from them unaware.
What the hell are y'all talking about right now?
Where did the love go? I need some love.
Where did the love go?
There was no love. Where did love go? I need to find love.
What the hell is Robin Hood, man? Let's get back to the central theme. The hell is Robin Hood?
I can't find love for $50. I gotta raise my prices.
The love of one day. That's where we went.
I'm gonna ask another question. I'm gonna ask a question.
You can date down
and be okay. Deceiving.
I'm gonna ask another question.
What's the question?
Solar, do you believe that
there you go.
Love is a goal when it comes to dating? Like, is that one of the things? Like, I want to fall in love with this person. I want to find somebody that I can love when it comes to dating.
Wow, thanks, Willie.
Right.
No.
That's where love is. You got people that just that's not the aim. That's not the goal.
Stop. I'm not about to play with y'all. No, when I date to collect data. I do not date. Now, when I was younger, I probably was like, oh my God, we hold hand, kicking cans. That is so sweet, right? But no, the reality is, no, you don't date looking for love. First of all, you probably need to date and see if you have compatibility. So for me, I date looking things. I can't fall in love with something I'm not compatible with. And I've tried, and then you get there and it don't fit. You don't fit. You be like, wait, I like movies. You don't. Oh, I like popcorn. You won't. I like to travel. You ain't. So, like, if you start dating and thinking about love first, I think that you miss what you're supposed to fall in love with. Yeah. I think you miss the substance of the person, and I've omitted that before. So I'm being honest. No, I do not date looking for love. I date looking for compatibility. I date looking. First of all, I'm a lot. And if you can't handle me, because I am a lot, the gray hair, the collection of rubber bands, I'm talkative, I'm energetic, I'm a lot, I work, I got kids, I got 4 babies, you know, I got a lot going on. I can't tell y'all everything.
Oh, terrible.
I travel.
With all that.
Okay. Hold up. So
we got a lot going on, y'all.
So we might as well get rid of that equation when people like, I'm dating for marriage, whatever. Stop saying that long-term stuff and whatever, and you gotta have short-term goals at some, and then build it on.
Gotta have things in
mile markers.
Build on
mile
it.
Markers.
Say what?
You build
mile markers.
Is anybody courting? Like, is courting a thing?
You gotta have things in common.
It should be.
No, people don't court anymore. People don't court anymore.
Yeah.
They don't court anymore.
So
you're courting for marriage.
Courting is still out there. Courting is still out there, and the reason why I say that, I have 3 daughters. And I'm watching them being courted. And you know what? I am proud of these young men. I have to be honest and say, I have been watching it.
Look here. Stop.
What?
Stop.
I'm being honest. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth.
Stop.
So
what are you saying? Stop.
You don't court anymore.
Why are you saying stop?
Huh?
Let me share this.
Why are you saying stop?
Right.
Baby, why are you saying stop?
Why am I saying
Right.
stop?
Yeah.
Because you saying these young, like 19, 20, like they're courting for marriage, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
what are you watching? What have you seen? What have you seen?
Listen,
Her daughter.
have you failed to realize? Do you have you failed to realize that there are people that have been married for 50, 60 years because
Of
they
course
started
I know
at
that.
a young
Of course
age?
I know that.
Okay, so cut it. You stop it. So the fact of the matter
We're
is,
talking about
the
today's
thing
date.
that
We're talking about today's.
Christine, don't do it. Don't do it.
21.
Don't do it.
My daughter's
Don't
21.
do it.
Do it. Do it.
My
Don't
daughter's
do it.
21,
Do it.
and she's
Falling from the
dating.
bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
Who told us to call my name? Oh Lord, don't be calling my name. So listen, yes, and I'm gonna tell you, these young men are been such young like gentlemen and being very and courting my daughters. And you know what? They have been, and I am proud of them. And actually, they outdo these older guys that I've been seeing these days. Okay, so I'm just saying they have their parents taught them well. That's all I'm saying.
I'm court.
So and I'm just asking, but can we conclude that they're a better judge of character than maybe you are?
You know what? To be honest with you, no, because they're replica of me. So I'm not gonna say that they're not.
But you just said you said that their guys have done a better job than the guys you're dating, right?
Because the guys that's my age been through stuff, and they're not like they used to think when they were those
When
guys.
you said
Maybe they
that, I was
understand the
thinking
game.
that they haven't been tainted yet.
Right, they haven't been tainted.
Right.
They're still.
So they're still
vulnerable.
optimistic.
You guys,
You know, they're still optimistic.
Still optimistic.
He's toxic.
Willie's still optimistic.
Willie's toxic.
No,
What?
Willie, he's
Willie's
optimistic.
No, I said they're
But
still
he's
wet
still
behind
got
the
his
ears.
guard
They're
up.
still young.
He's toxic.
They ain't been through nothing yet. They ain't been through nothing yet.
Willie's toxic. He
How
can't
about
date no
toxic?
more.
He said that they're young. I said they're still wet behind the ears. That's true.
Yeah, it is.
But you know
Yeah,
what?
they
This
still
is
got
the
the
thing, though. But
guys.
listen, let me share this though. But they're the next generation. Just imagine if they do stay together and form beautiful black relationships or white, whatever color they are. I'm not saying that they're all black or white, whatever. But what I'm saying is that, well, my girls are black. But I'm saying that they have beautiful relationships. They're examples to the next generation. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the part where I'm striving to teach mine. I'm striving to teach mine. I didn't have the teaching that they're getting right now. I didn't have that family. I don't want to say family, but I didn't have the example that I'm striving to teach them. I'm not saying I'm the great example, but I've been striving to show them better than I can tell them how to be as young women and how they should be vetted and how they should vet and how they should be treated by a young man. So what I'm saying is that I'm proud of their choices.
So are you
I'm proud of the young men that they've been coming around. Huh?
Right.
And my son too, because my son
I'd ask if you was married, but
and I'm proud of him and his. No, I'm not. I was married 11 years, and I got divorced in my 11th year. Yeah. So that's my story. But my son's 29 and he's dating, and I'm proud of him and his girlfriend. They're doing well. So I just think the younger generation is being a better example than the older generation right now.
No, G. You look at a small sample pool. No, G.
No, remember when you remember this. I remember hearing you, David, say that you were always like when you was trying to you were a late bloomer, right?
Okay.
And you didn't have guys around you.
Nah, this younger generation is too much. All they think about is smashing.
They cancel culture on her.
Drugs.
Cancel culture.
I just hear
all
from
of them, but
They're very disposable.
So what I'm saying is that now you're able to teach the younger generation something different. Am I right?
Okay.
Right? So what I'm saying is that you're teaching them different. Herb is teaching them different. Willie is teaching them different. So they're learning different.
Let me jump in here and let me say this. It's an idealized version of what she wants. The problem is that they're going against the grain, and eventually when you go against the grain long enough, the grain takes over. The question becomes, how long can they stand up in it?
Exactly. Do
How
you
long can they stand in it?
do you realize that social media shows everything? When we were coming up, television didn't broadcast everything play by play. You can go on YouTube or any other social media and find out anything you want to find out, what it is, how it is, and anything else. So these kids today, they got 10 legs up on us.
I just think that we're influencing our kids, and I think we're influencing more than we think we are.
We do, but we do, but their friends and society has more influence than us.
Unfortunately, that may be the case.
I
think the issue
it's not always
is that
so. We're not going to start with this absolute shit.
That's in pockets. It's not young people are doing a better job. I disagree 100%.
Totally different.
You may be doing a better job with your kids.
Okay,
well, I might be doing a better job with my kids.
Once your kids get out into the open and get out underneath you, from underneath you, they learn what they want to learn out there. If they fascinated by them kids out in the street, they gonna go hang out with them kids in the street, whether you want them to or not, because they got their own choice and their own decisions that they're making. My daughter, I kept her chained on. I mean, she couldn't leave off the porch till she was 9 years old, and then she couldn't leave but a couple houses. I wish I wouldn't have kept her so chained to the house like that, because once she got 14, 15, it was like letting loose this wild child, even though
that's the reason.
I mean, I'm not trying to be
installed in her, everything I installed.
There was a lack of balance there, though. You were doing the best thing that you thought what you thought was best. And hindsight is 20/20. But there was a lack of balance there because you kept her so sheltered.
See, I was no, she got out and things like that, but it was always supervised.
Echo in the background. That's annoying.
And things like that, she wasn't locked in a house or nothing like that.
I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that.
No, I'm just saying to kids today, that's what they would have called it. But me, I just kept her close to me to where I had an eye view, or a family member had an eye view. I wasn't letting her just loose out in the streets to do what she wanted to do, because I was a single parent, and I didn't want to become a grandma when my child was 12 years old, type of thing. So I just kept tabs on her. She went to the Boys and Girls Club and stuff like that, but when she was home, I wasn't having her run around with the neighborhood kids because they was too wild for me. I mean, I hated to be judgmental like that, but that's the way it went. And if I could have did things a little differently, I would have. But I still would have kept a tag on her. Nope, because they too wild out there. And a lot of them parents don't care what their kids doing. They leave them out into the streets. They do what they want all day. My daughter had a schedule and things she had to do.
And let me clear this up. Look here, I'm not trying to shoot down your notion of the guys that your daughter's dating, and that's great, but that's just a small pocket size of guys, whatever. So those are those guys, and they certainly haven't dealt with a lot of things. They haven't. Some of them haven't dealt with college life yet. Haven't dealt with working on a regular basis. So that's just the start. Most kids start off doing the innocent thing. They start off right till they start running into different influences, which cause them to do different things. So whether they're at middle school level and they're like, fine, holding hands, being innocent, then they get exposed to other stuff.
Yep.
And no matter as parents, no matter how good you are, no matter how much money you make, whatever, certain things draw them in and pull them to do different things. You only can hope they have a voice of reasoning or that says, don't do it.
Yep.
Don't do it. A lot of times these young people don't have that voice of reasoning. I had that voice of reasoning. It was my grandmother's voice. So everything that I did, I always thought about, damn, what would my grandmother say? It was her voice. Like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. And it would make me stop. A lot of people don't have that. I wish they would. I wish it was built in that you would find that person that means a lot to you and you have their voice and it stops you from doing certain things. A lot of people don't. So,
yep, that's the difference. My daughter would listen to my grandmother, but she, once she got a certain age, she ain't want to listen to me no more because I'm mom. That's how they get at a certain age. They want to prove mom wrong for whatever reason. But she did listen to my mom. But when my mom passed away, things got different.
I hear what you're saying. I hope I don't have an echo, but all I'm trying to say is that what I've been observing, not just my own kids, but I see a lot of younger kids getting married. I see a lot of younger generations, being in committed relationships, not being afraid of marriage. That's just it. I don't know. Y'all be on Facebook just like I glance on Facebook and I see a lot of young couples getting married. And what I'm saying is that I don't see a lot of the older guys that have been through some stuff or have been married before. They're not as quick to want to get married again.
Because they've been through it.
But that doesn't. But the thing is, you may have been through it, but let's take it back to why you went through it. Was you at fault? What was the situation at hand? You can't, and that's what I'm striving to say. That why can't you go back to that space of innocence and say, okay, listen. Like, for example, I'll share for myself. I had to find me. I had to step back and find Lakia because I was so busy trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be that I had to learn who I was. So how can I truly give somebody a real Lakia if I don't even know Lakia herself? You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you just got to step back and say, where could I have done better? Where can I grow? Like you said, it's self. You have to do your own self, just observation and strive to do different things to that and step out of the box.
Yeah, I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that. We all have to do personal inventory and look at ourselves and figure out, like, dang, what could I do different? Or whatever the case is. And when you see younger people doing it, you may see a certain small pocket doing it. So it seems magnified, like all these young people and all this young love and all that stuff. But trust and believe, it's probably not like that. You're probably basing it on 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10. And that's not a high percentage. That's not a high percentage at all. So you can't play those number games when you say that.
You don't have any statistics. I don't know. I can't say. Let's give it some statistics. It sound like.
If you look at the statistics,
you sound like you're coming off a bitter side. That's all I'm saying.
No, I ain't never coming off bitter side. I ain't never coming off bitter side. No, wrong answer. Wrong answer, G. Wrong answer on that one.
Getting him a little hot under the collar.
Yeah.
Because you ain't never been married either. We got to go back there. You ain't never been married.
Like I said before, like I told you before, any given day I want to get married, it will go down. If I say I want to be married tomorrow, it could go down. Trust and believe that.
Yeah.
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 Trust and believe that. Real talk.
Whatever.
Okay.
Bitterness going on there.
There ain't no sound like no bitterness here. It's total self-contentment right here.
Self-contentment.
I want to know what love
love. What
Where's
about
love
love?
at? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, what about love?
Who's watching the video of the show?
I was trying to give the youth some love, and he's shooting down my youth love. I mean,
You don't need no
You know why I
love.
was giving out youth love? You know
Nobody
why I
on
was
this
giving out
panel.
youth love? Because
You don't need no love.
I work with them at masses of levels that you haven't worked with. Middle school. Have I worked at high school, dude? Have I worked at college, dude?
You done forgot. You done forgot.
So I
You done
tell her,
forgot.
have I worked in every perspective? Have I worked in every? It doesn't matter.
Wait a
Hey,
minute.
hey,
But
hey,
nobody
hey,
on this
hey.
panel is
Doesn't
that
matter.
young.
Where
Nobody on this panel is that young. What about
Where is
love now? Where is love now? Because nobody
where's
on
love
this
now?
panel is no teenager, 20-year-old,
We're trying to
30-year-old.
find love now.
Yeah.
What
I don't
about
know how
love
we
right
got to
now?
these damn kids talking about somebody's
Kids,
12
talk
to
about
13,
kids.
8 and 9 years
You
old.
want to
What the
tell us
hell with them?
all that.
We talking about these 40 and
Hear about the
50-year-old
kid
people here
taking
now.
it. All
F
that.
them
The hell
kids.
talking about these damn kids. They're still
And I
playing
think
hopscotch.
one of the
The hell out of here with
I
that.
think you know what, to be honest,
The
if
hell.
we had to pull it together, you just said play hopscotch. I don't think couples walk like that and play hopscotch in games like that no more. And I saw a post had to be about a week ago, guys. We are so indulged in our phones. Like our phones is everything, right? So she probably sees these young people holding hands. They probably going to the canal side together. And what do adults do when they go on dates? They sitting here, and this is,
Sitting on their
so.
phone.
And even though the young, we're more engaged now. Don't get me wrong. Do young people believe in their phones? Yes, but they believe in
Yes.
capturing moments to review it later. Whereas we're engaged so much now. So where did the love go now? I
Living
think that it has
in the
shifted.
present moment. Yes.
We're not in the, and my son, now I'm going to jump on your bandwagon with the young folks. My son decided who's leaving to go to NCCC tomorrow. He decided he's not going to date. He was like, Mom, you know what? I got friends. I'm not about dating. I need to learn to live in the moment. He taught me that. Like, he was like, Mom, no, just put the phone away. We're going to do this together right here, right now. And it's not like they don't like they do that little Snapchat, whatever, so that they can
Snapchat.
Right, they do that, right? We all got to be on Facebook. We got to get a paragraph. We got to see Willie post and everybody go up in there and comment. We got to read to the point where the controversial counselor get on there and be like, no, y'all didn't say this. Like, we got to make it a whole something, you know? So
Oh
young
my
people
God.
are reminding us how to keep it simple, and we have missed that. We've missed that in love. We don't say, "Can I take you for a walk?" anymore. Can we go to the park?
Will do.
I'm on a bus. I'm always walking. We always gonna go for a walk. That's my first option, baby. Hey, Lakia, option is for a walk and for breakfast, right, Lakia?
Walk.
Me and Lakia, my breakfast. That's my breakfast buddy.
Right.
That's right.
Lakia also said she building a team, really. She also said she building a team. I paid close attention to what Sis said. She said, I go for dates, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'll go here and I will go there. In other words, guess what? And I ain't gonna say you gotta put them no limits no more, because she ain't gonna go out with you if you start questioning.
That reminded me of somebody that is so bad.
I'm just done.
Because I'm single.
That's my breakfast partner.
You might want to watch Willie being on your team though, because if he gotta pay,
Willie gonna be on some fantasy.
Willie gonna be on some fantasy days.
Willie got money. Willie got money. I just don't tell nobody.
Don't tell nobody.
But the thing is, that's so true. Just to share real quick, where love is. So let's think about even like love with family. Like you were sharing that. I just went on a trip with my kids in Florida, and I was doing more videos than pictures. So I didn't put it like you like, where are your pictures from the trip? I did more videos with Snapchat to capture the moment. You know what I mean? Because I just wanted to take in that time with them. So you're so right about that. We don't capture the moment.
I agree with that. Because when I just went on vacation, I don't take a lot of pictures because I want to enjoy the moment. I want to be in that moment. I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to be capturing it so I can look at it later. No, I want to feel everything right now.
And this to have I was watching again. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I take vacation, I seldom take pictures Because I always say if the vacation was memorable, I don't need a picture to remind me of a wonderful memory.
Exactly. It's captured forever up here. If I hit an age where or a place in life where I'm incapacitated, I want to be able to live off those memories. I want to be able to pull those memories to the forefront of my mind and enjoy them like they're new. I don't want to have to pick up a book and be like, oh yeah, photographs. Where was that at? No, I want it here. I want it permanently etched in my mind.
Like I said, I did more videoing, and I was looking back at the videos, and I just laughed, and it does my heart so well because it just felt so good, just to be with my kids and they were being together. But back to where the love goes, I'm just gonna share that for me. I love, but I've learned that I can't wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very loving person, and I'm growing. Even at 44, I'm growing. You know what I mean? And I'm growing. I still have so much to learn. But one thing I can say is that I'm just willing to just be open and just be willing to give people a try. Doesn't matter if at least they have a decent job and they're committed to work and then committed to love and committed to family and God. That to me, that goes a long way. And honest and loyal, that goes a long way.
I got some breaking. I got some breaking news, whatever, about love. Steph Curry's mom and dad is getting a divorce.
They're getting a divorce. Yeah.
After 33 years.
They're getting a divorce. I saw that.
After 33 years.
Where did the love go?
Where'd the love go? Where'd the love go?
Where did the love go?
All them,
does it
all
say
them
why?
high-price dinner.
I didn't read the article yet. I didn't read it yet. It was just came up as an alert. The big bad wolf. Big bad wolf. Talk to us, man.
Hey, I got a question. Okay, I'm looking at this lady. What's her DST? She says, "Does love really matter if you don't like the person?" And
how are you?
You can actually that's something that I actually just told somebody that I love. I told them I always love you. I said, but I don't like you. I said, and I don't like you.
I
love them and I care about them and I don't want anything bad to happen to them, but I don't like them, which means I can't be around them. I don't want you calling me. I don't want, but if it's an emergency and something really happened to you and you need me, I'll be there. But I don't like the person. But I really care about. I love them, but I don't like them because
I guess I'm thinking in terms of romantic love. But
well, it is romantic love. I do. I love the person. I really do love the person, but I don't like them. I don't like her because of the stuff she took me through.
You can get it in with the person, but you don't like them. In other words, you're telling us like that's a hit it and quit it, buddy, but you don't like them.
No, I won't even do that. I love her, but because of all the stuff she took me through, I don't like her, which means I won't have sex with her. I won't do any of that stuff with her. But if I see her, I'll talk to her, and she shows up. I already talked about it before. I won't go into it, but she shows up, and I'll talk to her. And I'm friendly and cooperative. You know what I mean? I'll talk to her, but that's it. And she tries to go there. $50 bill. I'm not taking her nowhere. Nope, I don't like her. I don't like her. I thought I love you, and I always will because she was there for me. That and it's not my ex-wife either, but this is somebody else that afterwards. But I really love the person. I tell her all the time I love her. I tell her I love her. I love her to death, but I don't like her because of the hell she took me through for 3 years.
So why
you can't love somebody and not like them. You can't love somebody and not like them. And it's a weird situation because you care so much about them, but because of how they are and you finally accept how they are, you realize that they're not good for you. So you don't like them. You can't be around them. You can't be around them. And like I said, I try, you try to hate somebody and it takes more out of you to hate somebody.
I don't hate nobody, but I don't.
No, I was trying to hate the person. I was trying to hate the person because of what they did, all the hell they took me through. And so I realized I was hurting myself because it put so much stress on me But when I just finally said, you know what, I love you, I always will love you, but I just don't like you and I can't be around you. And once I said that, I was cool. I moved on and went on about my business. But when I kept trying to hate her and kept trying to remember why I hated her, it kept me tied to the situation. Which is weird,
Right.
which is crazy. But but like I said, once I accepted the fact that I always love you, and I told her I always love you. And when I see her, I say I love you, but I can't be around you. And I keep it moving.
Stuff. Can I just say, I want to tell Uncle Jerk that I missed him. I miss you, Uncle Jerk.
Oh, Uncle Jerk. I'm like, who?
Jerk. Uncle Jerk.
Oh,
Uncle Jerk in the thread. Yeah.
He was on
I
you.
want to let him know I miss him. I miss you, Uncle Jerk. I miss you.
You his favorite. He pop up when you pop up in here.
Yeah.
He know he loves me.
But I never saw him before.
He's building your team.
You know the people will be on here tonight.
Yeah, that's funny. But it's the love is there. I think we all have love. I think we do love. I think we just have to be.
But can we love in relationships?
What do you mean love in relationships?
I think that
in what manner?
Can we like
you, my
I know it's a partnership and you like each other and all that, but can we love each other? Can we,
We're supposed to, aren't we?
That's what
People
I think.
People do not know love anymore. I said that earlier. I said there's a lot of people who don't really know have never really experienced love.
Because they never felt it before. They don't
exactly.
So where did you each one of you? Where did you feel love?
They wasn't nurtured with love. So
where did I feel love?
Yeah.
I've told you where I felt from, and it's really I'm not.
But you had to have something to base it on to say, okay, this is love. Where did that come from?
I told you where mine.
I was raised.
I told you where mine came from. The first time I felt love, that was the first time I really felt love, like where I wanted to be in a relationship. Love. Now my grandmother and my grandfather always, I felt love from them, But I didn't learn love at home. I told my mother, and this again, I told you I went through a lot of things when I was growing up. And I told my mother when I moved out when I was 16. So that kind of tells you kind of stuff I went through. I went through a lot growing up. And I went back after I graduated from college and they didn't show up to my graduation and all the other things. I said to my mother, I was 20 years old, 21 years old. I said to my mother, I said, for as long as I can remember, you have never once told me you love me. I said that to my mother. And you know what she said? She said, I do. I said, well, tell me you love me. She said, I do. I said, well, tell me you love me. She said, I do. Right. She couldn't say it. 21 years old. Never once has my mother ever told me she loved me. My mother called me 5 years later and told me she loved me. It took her 5 years to finally be able to actually say those words to me. 5 years later. Now she calls me and we talk and she'll say it,
we in every conversation. In my family, I could just talk to you 5 minutes ago. You call me on the phone, we talk again before we hang up. We're like, oh, love you, right. Mom, love you, son, love you, daughter, right. Whatever.
And that's what happens now.
It's a constant
until I was 21 years old. I said to her, I said, you never once imagine that. But and the really thing was, people say, and that's what I'm saying. And people ask me, but I was surrounded, like I said, surround yourself with better. I surrounded myself with people who showed me what love was. They, it wasn't people I was in relationships with, but I had good friends who had their mother and fathers at home. They would live with their mother and they had a bunch of brothers and sisters and they accepted me as part of their family. And so from watching them, I learned how to love and be loved and what to expect in love, and watching them like dating relationships, like how the kid talked about her daughters and kids. That's what I watched with my friend and his sisters and his mother, how they would get in relationships and how they didn't allow certain things and allow men to treat them a certain way. And so it showed me how you're supposed to treat a woman. and how to love a woman, how to know when a person loved you. But that's how I learned love, not from being at home. And so I learned love from watching other people. And that's why I tell kids all the time, surround yourself with better. And I try to show them how to do that, because I teach them what I know. I can only teach what I know.
So y'all see what Lo
What's
in
your love
theory
language? Do
said.
you know?
He said like is more important than love.
See, I grew up in
It
two-parent
is.
home, and
If you don't like a person, you're not.
You know,
you're
I don't know.
definitely
I
not
don't know if I agree with that one. I can share for mine. My love came from. Oh, sorry.
So then,
My
thought
love
you
came
flipped
from
over
the
the seat.
Father. I would say, and this is real from my Lord and Savior. That's when I had my first experience with Him. That's where I felt so much love that I always was looking for. And then with my children, I call them my 360 degrees of love, because they love their mama, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, some kids don't like their parents. And
Mine
I
love
just
me.
appreciate the
I
love,
love my
love.
parents.
They get on my nerves. I get on their nerves, but they still love me.
That's part of the job. You're supposed to get on their nerves.
Right. You know, so
My
that's something.
dad
So
is,
my kids for sure.
man,
Hello.
my dad is 85 years old, and he still treat me like I'm a kid, okay?
Yeah.
But that's all right, because I still act like kid. Dad, can I get the car? Okay.
Hey, Willie, I don't know if you heard me, but what's your love language? Do you know?
What is my love language? What do you mean by that?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
You
What do
know
you mean?
about the 5 love languages, right?
I'm sorry, I
You
can't. I
know
didn't hear
about
you.
the 5 love languages.
No.
I say you're familiar with the 5 languages, right?
He said no.
No.
Are you there? No, he doesn't.
So what are they?
Okay. Yeah,
What are
because if your love for me, I've never been. I can't ever remember my mother telling me she loved me, but my love language is acts of service. So because of that, my mother could never tell me she loved me, and my love for her is just as strong. But for someone whose love language requires that, like words of affirmation, I think that becomes important for you. But for me,
Touch.
no, yeah, right. I think it's
I need a hug every now and
words
then.
of
I ain't gonna front.
affirmation, and a lot of times go through things, and because we don't understand them or because we don't know them, it makes it hard to relate to another person because we don't know them or because we don't study them.
Because we don't study our
Yeah,
love
but when we
language.
get a second, read it, look at it.
Is that what you just
Yeah.
said? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Okay.
Yeah, love
I,
language is
I,
very
um,
important. Absolutely.
like I
love
said, my
language
mother,
is
she
not
never told
silent.
me. She never told me, but I said that in a conversation to her because we were on the phone. I hadn't talked to her in like a couple years, and I was on the phone with her, and I was having a conversation with her, and she started to bring up something from my childhood as for the reason why she did something, which and that's how that conversation came up. But as far as my love language, I don't know. I don't understand when you say love language, but then you said something about giving back and doing. And see that I think maybe that's my love. I give.
Service.
I
You
give.
should look it up, because I feel like
I do.
yeah. You take us and then you look at your love language, and but you look at it, and then you start to see, going back to even the conversation of where's the love. I think that we don't know how to communicate what we need from our partner or from the people that we entertain, and we don't know what to expect back from them. So I think a lot of times we don't look at relationship as clearly as we could, especially when there's some damage. I think that that's the part that we got. It's a big thing. We're damaged. We've been through relationships. We've been hurt.
We're all damaged. We're all damaged.
And now it's like, in order to regroup, we damaged good. But I think looking at our love language and finding out where that love,
we're all used vehicles that need a tune-up.
I know I'm damaged. I know I've been damaged. I'm broken. That's why I said I haven't dated for a while. I've been through a lot.
How long do you say? How long do you? But how long do you stay that way? And before you begin to see that, okay, let me slow down and back up. I'm Mitch, you're damaged. I'm just talking about this mysterious person. Now we're dating. Our good outweighs our bad. Do I base our dating on your damages, or do I base it off of the fact that you're healing through that as well? Can we collect data together and go through that, or are, because we're so broken, that's all we get to see of each other? Like, how does that look?
I do think you have to be careful to make sure you're not bonding over trauma.
Right, over drama like that. So what you may have to do,
I think you have to be careful not to be bonding over trauma, because then you're both holding on to that trauma.
Yeah, you become a crush
you're not
to each
healing.
other.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You become a crush to each other. So by taking time to heal, we all have to take time to heal and understand who we are. You know, that's part of what I talk about with the 4 W's, understanding who you are. If you don't understand who you are and where you're trying to go and what all those things that's going to get you there, then jumping into a relationship and you're still not certain of who you are and where you want to go in that relationship, it's never going to bond. You're not going to, because you're not at a place where you can even get into a relationship with someone, because you still don't understand who you are and what's going to help you to be a success in that relationship, because you have to bring something to that relationship. But you have to be, at least you may not be whole, but you need to be in a right frame of mind.
Low down was just saying how did he say? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, low down was just saying that everybody should have like all 5 love languages, and that we can't limit our love language to a test. I don't think that we should limit our love languages to a test, but when we start to think about who we are as a person, in order to get into a healthy relationship, you need to know your strengths. And you don't know what your love languages are, it doesn't have to then send to one. But if you do not know how you communicate in love, how can you even answer the question, where is the love? Because that is through you. So I think, right, but that's also part of the healing process of me. You may need to look at.
I gotta go find my love language.
It's real important.
I ain't gotta pay to find it. I ain't got for $50.
No, you can find it. It changed me in the way I communicated with people. Period. Yeah, once, and I actually had to go to counseling to learn. But man, actually, once you learn it, you'll see how it makes such a difference.
I'm gonna research that tonight.
I had shared that I was scared to touch my kids because of the way that I was touched. But what I learned is that when I allowed myself to touch them and love them like they deserve to be loved, that's where my healing came. A lot of my healing came from loving them the way that I had desired to be loved when I was young. So that's so one thing when you talk about relationship, when about your love language, I think I was trying to say a little bit earlier, anything we do in life is a risk. And we choose to, when we walk out the door, is a risk. Anything can happen to us. We drive in our cars, we take a plane trip, whatever, a plane ride, whatever. We're taking risks. In a relationship, we're taking a risk. And you're not going to, I've learned a lot by being in relationships. I've learned the things that I need to work on by being in a relationship. Because the only people that can be ones that you really care about or really help you see who you really are, in my opinion, is people that you really love, that you think that love you and you respect what they think of you. And when you see yourself and it's like, man, I messed up. I got to do better. You know what I mean? So I've grown from my messed up relationships. So what I'm saying, sometimes relationships is a help to, it may not, it may have caused some bad blood sometimes, but it's helped me be a better person in my next relationship because I've grown. So I don't know if I can say, I think it just takes another strong person to love me through my pain and go and help break down my walls as I help break down their walls if that's necessary. It might not even be necessary, but my hope is that it's somebody that I will meet and they'll meet me, and we can be able to do that for each other from the love and the like, because you do have to like the person that you're with. You know, because you can love somebody, but they can be mean as a snake. You can love somebody and they can just be, they still push you off. They can be a narcissist. They can be whatever. And you still love them, but you don't like them.
That is true.
A lot information overload tonight.
I know. I tap out. He over there taking his love language test already. He didn't get it. Ain't gonna wait till the next time.
Who that? Willie?
I am. Yeah, I am. I just found it.
This broadcast been mostly about Willie tonight, anyway. Did we get you right?
That's the way Solar presented it. She was irritated at Willie's post.
We got you together now. You cool? You good?
I got to finish my quiz. I got to finish my 5 love language quiz. Then I'll let y'all know tomorrow.
We need you to come back.
I guess you go post it up and let us know.
Right. We need a report.
I give a report tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta you after you find out what it actually is.
I am. I just found it. I'm researching. I think somebody actually gave me that book. Somebody actually gave me a book. I got to go look for it.
Yeah, I got that book. I ain't seen it in a while, but
I
got
it. About 3 good ones.
So going around the panel, David, what is your love language?
My love language is service. The service part, like
service. Okay.
Yeah, when you know somebody's in your corner and they support what you do, and that's probably because me being goal oriented, I know that I need someone that's going to support that. Mm-hmm. So if someone says, "Oh no, I ain't got time for that," or they want to disagree or dispute that, it's probably going to cause me to clam up or have a hard exterior that I'm like, man, I ain't really checking for this, whatever. So that means a lot to me as far as service, whatever, just somebody that can support you. And that might be from childhood, whatever, looking from that support from my father that I didn't get in certain things that I did. So now I expect somebody to provide that service for me.
Next.
Oh my. Willie, what's yours? You done?
No, he ain't done. He into it now.
Willie gonna report back tomorrow. Everybody else.
I'm gonna report tomorrow. I'm listening.
He gonna come with this emoji.
Hey, Herb dropped off. I was gonna ask him. What he disappeared.
Yeah, Herb playing dental games right now.
All right, who's next?
Yeah, mine is touch. I like to touch. So, and that's been a long time that I had to figure out. I'm like you, sis. It took me a minute to learn how to embrace and accept it being embraced because of what I've gone through. But once I found out that there's power in hugs, there's power in intimacy. So I like the touch of intimacy, like that, so to speak.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Me too.
Well, that's pretty much me. Affection.
Hold on, Christian. We got my man.
Oh, he
back.
No, Solar.
I
just his name.
JB.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Mine is acts of service. Mine's acts of service, and I'm a Capricorn, so all mine goes into the same. Yeah, okay. But mine is definitely acts of service. And like I said, before I learned it, it was hard for me to accept love and to give love until I actually learned what it was that made me tick and that made me feel that way. So for me, I actually had to do the research to be able to get to a point where I could even understand, why I appreciate this person more than I appreciate this person and so forth, until I actually learned it and learned how it affected. Yeah, so that's what I was saying to him. Yeah, once you learn it, and you actually do the research about it, for me, it completely changed me. It made me understand. You know what I mean? For me, it was definitely an education that kind of brought it all into one thing where I could understand.
All right, Christine.
Okay, So affection,
Affection
and attention is definitely me. I grew up in a family, in a household that's what we had, and that's what I was used to. In my marriage, I married somebody that's not what they were used to. So that's not what they gave me. And so I definitely realized it was missing. So I know what my love language is. It's definitely attention and affection.
Okay.
Like I want to laying in bed, I want to be tangled up like the hair in my brush.
Okay. Gwendolyn.
Okay.
That's right.
This is first I heard of this, but I'm gonna give it a stab in the dark. But I'm looking at it in words of affirmation. I would say acts of services, because acts of services is things that you do for one another that helps each other out and makes each other feel good. I would think, in my mind. I'm waiting for more.
And that's big too, being able to do something for people that you feel also that appreciate what you do. So sometimes that makes you feel good, makes your heart feel good to know, like, okay, I'm doing something for them and they appreciate it. Oftentimes you do things for people they don't appreciate it, and you like, man, what the hell? Like, I'm done. So that's a big part too. Big Bad Wolf.
Well, for us people, whose language is, not only do we receive it that way, most of the time that's the way we show it as well. So a lot of times for us, the act of service becomes in the way you show love as well as the way you receive love.
Exactly. That's why I said it both ways. It works for both.
He is still looking.
Yo,
he disappeared.
And like I said, we gotta have this conversation with him again tomorrow. He ain't gonna be ready to answer tonight.
Who else?
Lakia?
No, because he in trance right now.
He like,
how far you get?
Well, I told you my love language is service. Mine is service. I already know. Well, I was taking the test. Go ahead, Lakia. I was taking the test, but I'm gonna listen. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just wondering how far you got this time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you say? Talk to me.
Sure, sis.
Go ahead, Lakia.
I don't know, David, if that's okay. Can I ask us our love language?
What'd you say?
Okay, what's yours, Lakia?
What is your love language, Lakia?
I think it's a little bit of both, the affection and the servitude. I call myself a servant. I like to show people better than I can tell them, and I like to show people how that I appreciate them or want them around. And then I like the affection. I like the touch. I like the little simple touches, the little simple rub, the hug. Goes a long way. I'm a little bit of both, servitude and the affection.
All right. I like the service. I'm not a big touchy person. I'm not. I've never been a touchy person.
Stop!
I mean, I hold hands.
Will, you said you love holding hands, man.
I do. I'm gonna say I hold hands, but it's not like
made progress with you. You just took 10 steps back.
Hey, listen, I didn't finish.
I like messing with you, Will.
I'm not. What they call it? When public affection, what's that? That's term.
PDA.
We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that, but I'll hold hands. I'll hold hands, and I'll walk with a person. I'll hold their hand sometimes. I'll sit and talk to them and hold their hand at the table. So it's not like I sit there and don't touch them, but I'm not out there hugging and kissing and and all that craziness. No, I don't do all that.
Hugging, kissing,
Well,
grinding.
Rubbing
huh?
their hair all
No,
over.
but wait a minute,
That's funny enough. But I hold their hand, you know.
Your arm
Put
through
your
your
hands
arm, or you
down
gonna
and
recoil and harbor?
No. I mean, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not trying to make a scene. I say make a scene. I don't want, you know, like you
You
have
don't
some
want
people, they
nobody
just
yell,
jump in,
get a room.
right, exactly. So for me, you know, I'll hold hands, you know, I may hold hands, we may stop and I'll just, you know, and I may hold, you know, and you know, if it's warm, if it's cold outside, I might hug them or whatever, but I'm not doing nothing crazy out there. So, you know, but
It's the simple things, Will. You don't have to do nothing
You
crazy.
know the hip
I think it's the
secret?
simple touches.
well,
You know
that's what I
the
said. I
hip
do that.
secret?
Hold hands and
No, like
you
the,
know,
the brushing of the back, or like just the brushing of the neck or something, or
kiss
the
on the
arm,
forehead,
shoulder.
kiss on the
You know,
forehead.
just little things. You know, just you gotta up your game up a little bit. You gotta up it up a little bit.
They said that's
I
the
kiss
deal
on the
breaker,
forehead.
Will. That's
Yeah,
the
the way
deal
do you know
breaker.
the secret of the hips?
Huh?
Willie, do you know the secret of the hips, Willie? No, no
The
secret of the hips.
who? The
The
secret of the
hips.
hips.
It might save you $50.
Yes. Oh, look at all the guys. Oh, you don't know the secret of the hips.
You said,
Tell us
hip?
about it, Sola. Tell us about it.
The secret of the hips. Willie, it is important for men to know the secret of the hips. The hip. The hip.
What if,
Hips?
what if the hip is broken?
Look at
Hip. Okay, hips. Okay. So I gotta learn the secret of the hips?
Then that means you just gotta
All right.
correct it. You gotta learn the secret of the hip. If you're not really
All right,
affectionate, but
we're
you
going to
really want
breakfast
to
this
get your
week.
point across,
We're going to breakfast this week. All
I'm
right,
not
so
gonna tell you the secret of the hips. I gotta get
Go
your girlfriend first. Okay, you gonna pay?
Yeah, of course.
If you pay it, I'm
it
gonna
ain't $50. No, hold on. Tell us the secret. Tell us the secret of the hip.
Breakfast.
Don't bring a guest.
That's why we're going to breakfast.
Tell us the secret of the
steak,
hip.
eggs, shrimp. I'm eating steak, eggs, and shrimp,
That's all right.
and a mimosa.
I'm gonna have eggs and
So,
toast.
uh,
I'll be good.
Stay focused. I ain't thinking about you and
And I like
Willie
that good
Raggedy
bacon.
breakfast.
Girl, get that box mimosa.
Go to the rooftop
He
at the
must be
loft.
taking y'all to IHOP for that
He gonna make-
$9.99 meal.
That's it.
Get that box
He gonna make us
mimosa.
get the box wine.
Get this a box. We ain't doing no box wine.
Here we go.
Yeah, we ain't doing no box wine. We don't do no box wine.
So done.
What's the secret of the hip?
I'm not about to play with y'all.
I'll
just think that it was
find
good
out.
to have-
I'll find out. I'll let you know.
The secret.
We're gonna do breakfast, so she'll let me know.
secret of the hips is.
I'll
If
learn
y'all
my
don't know
buddy.
what the secret of the hips are, that's probably a good sign. I'm not telling
Well, I
them.
need to-
Ladies,
I
do
need to
not
learn.
tell them the secret of the hips.
I think I know
Why?
what it is, because
If they don't know that.
The secret of the hip.
I probably call it something else.
Oh,
but
Mr. Wolf.
JB, do you know the secret of the hips? JB.
I don't jump through hoops
I
so
think
somebody
it is.
knows something they gonna tell me. All that trying to figure this out, figure that out. I don't do that. I'll preface this by saying this one thing. I know enough about women to know that I don't need to know anything else.
Oh, and he shut the door.
I'm gonna leave that alone. That's too much.
Herb said there's no secrets. Herb said there are no secrets.
A hot mess. A hot mess.
Oh, wait.
Big bad.
Herb,
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Big bad.
You
What's
can't
your
touch
love
it.
language?
Herb, what's your
You can't
love
touch it. What
language?
you gonna leave it alone? What you gonna do with it?
What's your,
Absolutely nothing. You absolutely right.
Okay then.
I ain't got the time of the crayon.
Oh, and he shut the door again.
You don't have the ability. The heck with
Whatever
anything
you
else.
want to call it.
Herb, what's your love language?
My love language?
Yeah.
I'm an
Yes.
acts of affection person.
You're who?
Acts of affection, but women don't operate like that.
Oh,
So y'all got into that, and then y'all ran away from it, failing to neglect that your love language matters nothing if it doesn't match up with the person you're with, and that's what happens a lot of times is people get in relationships that they're mismatched with people with.
I can see that.
In other words, trying to put a round peg into a square hole. So your love language matters not if you can't match with your partner.
Some partners is just damaged and
Yeah, a lot of
don't
times they
know
can't
how
show
to
you love
accept
back,
love
and the
too.
way to receive
Not you,
if
Willie.
you
I'm
don't
talking
know.
about somebody else.
Oh
Not
no,
you
I'm good.
either. I'm talking about somebody totally else. But there's a lot of men out there don't know how to accept love.
There's a lot
Period.
of people out there
Well,
don't know how to accept love,
That's what I
male
just
and
said.
female.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
in order for you to say that, one, you have to actually define what love is, and we already got into that. It's too nebulous because what your brand of love is, may not be what somebody else understands love to be. So for somebody to say that, you have to know who it is that you're actually talking to. So that's far too nebulous to just lay that on the table and say men don't. Now, what you could say is the men that I've dealt with
Okay,
don't.
individuals. Okay, you're correct on that. That's what I should have said. Men, a man that I have dealt with. Well, I can't say men. But yes, that's right. They don't know how to accept love, and my belief is they don't know how.
It's unfortunate.
I think with the older generation of men, they are a little bit more like not as affectionate. It's like they felt like showing affection was showing like being less of a man. You know, and that's the thing because my ex-husband was the same way.
No,
He wasn't a
I
very
don't believe that
affectionate man. I
because
don't know.
the person I was
I
dealing with
think we.
was affectionate
I
in the
talked about that
beginning, and then
before.
his whole demeanor changed like in the last 5 years. Like it's just like he turned into a whole different person.
I talked about that once before. I talked about where I said women love with emotion and men love with thought. And so when you try to get a man to, and a lot of times you say, you don't show me you love me. A woman would say that to a man, you don't show me you love me. But he's a man, men, we think about the things we do. We think in our actions, we try to show through our actions and put thought into things. Women, they love with emotion. So they're looking for a man to respond to them the way that they respond to the man. And that's where the conflict comes in. Because a man is not going to love you the way you love them. Because you're emotional. That's why I said one of the problems we have with our young men when they're raised strictly by women, they become emotional. And so instead of thinking about their actions, a lot of times something happens and they react emotionally. And so that's how they end up getting in situations where they end up fighting in situations, or they end up acting out and shooting. You know, they act emotional to situations versus thought, where they say, well, what can happen to me if I did this, or what would happen to me if I do that? That's why I teach kids how to play chess, because chess is the same thing, allowing them to think of their actions. Because when you play chess, you think about your actions and what the reaction is from the person that you're playing against. Whereas women don't think with thought. I mean, they don't get in relationships with thought. They're emotional people.
Well, I don't know if I can agree with that one.
And that's
Bill.
hard. It is. Think about it. If you any guy you ever really talk to, and you're looking for them to give you, like, be emotional with you. A guy. Most guys aren't emotional people. We do things with thought. We think about things that we want to do in a relationship. A woman will say, well, you don't show me you love me, or you don't act like you love me. And he'll be sitting there and say, I do try to show you. But what you're looking for is an emotional response from him. And he's putting thought into trying to show you through, the thoughts that he's having. Well, I'm going to show her this, or I'm going to do this. I'm going to give her this. That's how men think. We don't think in the same way as women think as far as what love is, because women think in emotional thought.
Well, one thing they say about brain research is that women brains are always operating. So even when they're sleeping,
What
they're
y'all doing?
thinking more. They're thinking more than a person that's a man that's awake, whatever. Eh,
I agree.
unfortunately, unfortunately.
No,
Think
no,
about
no,
something to
this is
argue
true.
about.
'Cause I've
Think about something
no,
to
let me
argue
Like
share
about.
this.
that's
I
for
think
No.
tomorrow.
Think about
women
something
be
to
arguing
argument.
because we are emotional beings, but that's why I think where the problem comes in that we just keep making these assumptions, and we should have more conversation. Like just assuming, like
But
even with a man, like okay, you're interested in a woman, and a woman says to you, you're not showing me, that you love me. You're not, how, and he says, okay, well, I'm doing this, this, and this, but what about what she might like to see? And vice
Right.
versa.
She's
So
looking for emotional
you need to have
responses.
those kind of conversations. You need to have, like, babe, well, I like you to hold my hand. I like you to rub my back. I like you to rub my feet. Whatever it may be, then he should strive to do that. If it's a man saying, I want you to make me a sandwich. I want you to do whatever,
we can get a
then he
damn
should work on
sandwich up
doing
in this
that.
motherfucker.
Right.
But he should,
You
they
were
should work
that.
on doing what each other likes, not making assumptions.
I'm gonna mail you a sandwich
See,
in a
this
box
is
of
something
mine.
totally
You
different,
ain't gonna
though.
mail me no sandwich, Christine. I don't want no mailed sandwich.
No, this is
Communication.
how it went.
Communication
I
is the
remember
big key.
I was always
This
asking somebody what they have for lunch, what they have for lunch, what you eat for lunch. I was told, don't worry about what I'm eating for lunch. So that's when you just got to let it go. When they tell you don't ask them.
Well, if they saying all that, then you don't want to be bothered with them anyways.
well, what happened with me is
Willie,
I
you
got in
tell
a
her you gonna tell her what you want for lunch under $50.
That's right.
You gonna tell her what you
That's
want
right.
for lunch. You ain't
That's
what
got
right.
no
happened.
lot of money, sis.
What
That's
happened
right. You
was
don't.
basically
Money
I
don't
got.
impress me.
What happened was I got into this relationship. We was together, tight as tough as nails. We did everything together all the way for like 10 years, and then slowly but surely things start backing off, and the showing up slowed up, and you know how things work out. And then it's like to the point where oh yeah, I'm coming over, you don't start showing up, I'm out. And then it got to the point, everything started declining. And then that's when I know, I could see where this going. And they heard the story before. It got to a point where he just felt he wanted to tell me what I can do, who I can hang around, and things like that. And that was something I just couldn't accept. Even my father don't tell me stuff like that. How you gonna tell me things? We never lived together. We were together for all them years. We weren't married. So, I've always, anytime he came over, had hot, nice, big plate on the table for him. He always enjoyed it. And this was a continuous thing. And it came to the point where, he told me he was coming over. I cooked this food. He didn't show up. So it's like, it's wasted food.
Do you,
I mean, I don't like leftovers. I cook enough just for the cause and maybe an extra plate or two, and that's it. And I'm wasting food.
do
You ain't
you
coming by. I'm done.
do you think you might have, because of all that you were doing and weren't married, do you think that may have been the problem?
I
Because you
think
were
the
doing
problem.
all the things of a wife, but you weren't a wife.
I found out that his mother, he had a lifetime of disappointment from his mother, and he had a. I don't want to like put his business out there, but he had a traumatizing life, and he
But
just couldn't accept the fact that there's such thing as happiness. He always worried, always worried about me cheating on him, always getting, but he was the one out cheating. It's a lot of
but
different reasons and things.
you still didn't answer my question that I said to you. I said, do you think the things that you were doing, which were actually things that a wife would do you think that's what hindered the relationship of becoming a wife, because you were already doing the duties of a wife? So why marry you if you're already doing all this stuff? Why should I marry you? Do you think that could have come into play as well?
I don't think that had anything to do with it. I just think Buffalo was so smart, and he was just getting caught too many places with this older woman, and it was his days were numbered. I already seen him a couple times myself with the lady, and
but I mean, you did this for 10 years, so I mean, I'm just saying that's a long time to be cooking dinners and not getting.
Mindset. And I think that Willie, you did bring out something well, and a lot of red flags is what Sir Anthony. You done said a lot though, Sir Anthony. I know you listening, but I think right, like over there just running off at the bad answers. I think that what you just said is something that we don't accept. And Willie, I hate that you called it out, but we do. A lot of times women, we want the man, we want the relationship, and we do play house. And we do set ourselves up without enough data or without enough of understanding that what that relationship is like. We don't ask the questions that may hurt our feelings because we don't want to know the answers of where you went. And we don't want to be open in our expectations in a relationship. And it hurts to the point to find out, oh, they move on or they're with someone else. But those are questions that when we're courting or dating, those need to be the questions that we ask so that we don't put out there to play.
He lied. He said he was a widow. Not a widow. He said he was
he
divorced.
Probably was.
So he wasn't.
He said he was divorced.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't.
He was divorced. But he didn't say he had another woman.
So for 10 years
he led me to believe. He led me to believe he was single.
Thank you. But the thing is, he was single because for 10 years you did all the things of a wife, but you weren't a wife. You when he was coming, you made the food for him. You probably, you did all the things that a wife would do, but for 10 years. Why, you know what I mean? I would say that to any person. Why would I marry you if you're already, what they say, if you're already giving me the milk, why do I need to buy the cow? Right. You know what I mean? And that's the situation. Everything he needed, everything that he needed from a wife, you gave to him without being his wife. So, and then he found somebody who was probably more challenging or whatever the case may be. And he went with that. I bet she wasn't cooking them dinners every day when he came over. He probably was taking her out. So I mean, sometimes and that's the guys and girls do the same thing. Sometimes we give too much. Sometimes we give too much in the beginning because we want that person. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I think the other part for what you said, I know it's okay. I think the other part is when we get to a certain age, deception need to go out the door. If you know it's me and somebody else, just be honest. But I don't think we really want answer. If we're not exclusive, we can be exclusive or not exclusive for 10 years, but that's my choice. But give me a choice.
But give me the option, right?
Don't give you.
He should have told me from the beginning.
Give me that option.
Okay, we're dating, but I'm dating other women too. He should have told me that from the gate, and we could have both been dating other people.
If he told you that, would you still cook everything? If he had told you that, would you still have reacted the same way? If he had told you that, would you still have reacted the same way?
We still could have been friends. We still could have been friends.
My question was, if he had told you that, would you still have reacted the same way as treating him the same way?
From the beginning, yes. I still would have, because we would have been friends.
So you'd have still made dinner and did all the stuff and everything was over?
Yeah.
Really?
I sure would have.
So you still would have been in the same situation.
As friends, I don't know if we would have been, to the sex level when we was or anything like that, but I would have made them meals.
But that means you wouldn't have been the same way.
You wouldn't have been, and he knew you wouldn't have been the same based on that. So that's why he didn't tell you.
If you was making them dinners,
he's not going to ruin his good thing, knowing that, it's all based on your expectations of one day that you two are going to be, whatever you thought y'all were going to be. So it's right, exactly. So as long as
in the beginning, I wasn't specifically making meals for him. I had a child. I had to cook dinner for me and my child.
Right.
And I always made an extra meal because my mother always said, no matter what, always make at least an extra plate. And
right, but
you said
you made meals for him too.
Gwendolyn, stop.
Yes, you said you made meals for him too.
I'm
So
serious.
it's okay though. It's okay. He gone, baby. We good. We got you covered.
It's different. It's a different meal prep than you cooking for a little kid to the grown ass man.
No, me and my child eat like champs. Ask my daughter; she'll tell you. My daughter eat a whole roast. I come home from work. My daughter ate the whole roast.
So she was eating the whole roast at 4?
She wasn't 4. When we met, she was 12 going on 13.
I'm messing with you.
Y'all is horrible.
12 going on 13.
I almost got to Kevin Samuels on you now.
Oh, Lord.
Y'all think I'm trying to cover up? Nope, I ain't got to cover up. I
have to ask the questions Kevin Samuels asked. How tall is she? And when's the last time she
I love this group. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I ain't got no reason why. I'm all grown adult. I'm gonna be 53 years old in September 9th.
When you know we just talking. You know how we do on here.
Sir Anthony just said something that I agree wholeheartedly with. You can't give too much of your life away to nothing.
That's right.
I learned that.
If you are not getting what you need out of it,
I bet it won't happen again. I bet it won't happen again.
So that goes back to what I was saying. You learn.
I bet it won't happen again.
You learn and you grow. You grow from like different relationships.
Exactly. Yep.
You learn from those experiences.
In them 18 years, I learned a lot, and I bet you I don't repeat that one. Yeah,
18 years.
18 years I was with that man. That's what I'm saying. This wasn't no. I mean, no. After
10 years, it was good.
After 10 years, yeah, it was good for the first 10 years.
It was good for 10.
When he started,
and bad for 8.
Slipping. After the 10 years,
I got a hollow
girl. People telling me they see him with a girl. That's what I'm telling you. It didn't happen just like that.
I'm laughing at Sir Anthony.
Pinky toe.
Yes, we was together for 18 years.
I'm about to see what Sir Anthony is saying.
He said a whole roast. That's not good.
Yes, my daughter would eat a whole roast. I come home from work, the whole roast be gone. A whole roast.
Y'all,
y'all be wilding. We got to get out of here, man. We got to get out of here. I know,
it's like it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
Close it. We can't even go home. JB, come on here. We can't even go home.
Way past my bedtime.
Closing
comments. Right.
But I got people around, man. After you learn your love language.
I'm gonna finish my test tonight when I get off this show.
Closing comments, Solar.
I'm gonna come see you at the shop too, JB. I'm gonna come down to the shop and see you, JB.
Cool, man. I'll be there. I'll be waiting for you.
All right.
Okay. Wait, you said you want our closing comments?
Closing comments to the
show. Okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah. Closing comments. I just want to say that in closing, I think that the love that we need, and somebody's just said it on there, where is the love? We need to get it back in Black love. We need to remember that every time we say king and queen, it comes with a responsibility. I think if we go straighten each other's crowns like we did tonight, we need to do it consistently. And I want to thank Willie for being bold and open for his post from a male's point of view and willing to share that. So I guess my exact closing is continue to take a solar moment because we all need to heal. And that's what this is all about. So I'm just honored to be here. What about you?
I'm going to end mine with a story. Today I saw a TikTok. Where it spoke of a young man who was selling ice and a young lady who was selling lemonade. And both parents came out and said, you selling lemonade, ain't nobody gonna buy your lemonade because it's hot as hell out here. And the young man and the other one's parents came out and said, hey, you selling ice? What good is ice out here? And ain't nothing. So I guess both parents went in the house, came back 2 hours later, and saw that one of them had moved their stand over to the other side, where they began selling ice with the lemonade. And with working together, they had everything they needed. So I think in relationships, what we need to figure out is we don't need to figure out what you have and what I have. We need to figure out what we can do together to make it successful. I think once we achieve that goal, And once we can let go of all the other bullshit and just figure out what you need to make yours successful, what I need to make mine successful, and put it together, I think we can really figure out where the love went. And more than that, we can get back to making love lasting. We
Been
just
trying
need to
to
figure out
Mhm.
who got the ice and who got the lemonade.
With some cold
Amen.
lemonade.
Right.
Amen.
So I'm sorry. What is your name, sir?
JB.
JB.
They call me
I,
JB.
my closing comments is mic drop on JB. That was enough. That said it all.
All right. All right. Drop the mic on that one, huh?
Yep.
Mhm.
Come on,
Amen.
Gwen.
Amen. Oh, it's me? No, it's
Yes,
the one
Gwen.
in the middle there. I thought it was her
She
turn.
just said it.
Oh,
Yes, Gwen.
okay. What I learned
Yeah.
is to not wait 18 years before you let somebody go. How about that?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
All right.
All right, I'll go next. I'm going to close out with just reminding people. I always say to people, communication is key. Before you can love, understand, like, dislike a person, you have to communicate with them, get to know them, spend time with them. You don't have to take them out to eat at a restaurant to get to know them, because you won't. So don't even do it. Listen to me. Listen to me. Don't do it. Don't do dinner dates on the first date. And also, headshots can be deceiving. Just remember I said that. Good night.
Yo, I already know somebody that got catfish. So
He
I know
said that every broadcast. He said that
Y'all be wilding. Go ahead, Lakia.
I just want to first say thank you for keeping me company while I had to drive home 4.5 hours.
Oh, geez.
We've been on here a long time. I've been on here like about almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I
How in the
appreciate it.
world
I'm
is you
almost home.
concentrating and driving
home.
and listening to all that?
Okay, this is what I do. I'm a driver, so it's second nature for me.
Okay.
But love bears all things. So that's my what?
Say it again.
Love bears all things.
Okay.
And that's my closing comment. Love bears all things.
All right. Big bad wolf.
Herb. Big bad Herb.
If you're vetting people that you're dealing with thoroughly enough, a date, first date, second date, third, the amount of money you spend is immaterial. I always ask people, what do you have in your toolbox? It sounds like people don't have in their toolbox the ability to discern somebody that's worthy of their time and their money. If that's the case, then I would suggest that you refine that anyone. Because I can't recall the last time I've been on the first date where I didn't spend at least 3 figures. But that's how I roll. That's not taking a shot at that's not taking a shot at anybody. I already told you. I like I said, I canceled my tickets to the Billy Joel concert just because of the situation. $700 ticket. That's what I do. But I vet those people to make sure that they're worthy. You know how I like to close? Growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
All right. All right.
Right.
Very, very entertaining show. A lot of different perspectives. I want to thank Solar, JB for coming on here, bringing their energy and passion. You know, Christine, Gwendolyn, Lakia. I'm glad you closer to home and we kept you company, because I know sometimes that's how it could be. That ride could be treacherous, whatever. But I'm glad you make it home safe. Herb, Willie. And my thing is this, whatever, about love. There's so much to love, but it's also those components outside of love that makes it work. And that would be the balance in your life. That would be the communication. That would be spacing and stuff like that. Having proper space, time away from each other to kind of grow, maybe miss each other. So there's other components to love that keep it going. Love, you won't survive just on love. Unless you have those other components that's that's tight, and tighten up those components, and then that love it'll continue rolling. With that said, y'all might have something to say about that, but y'all won't say it tonight. You can say it in the chat. With that said, we out. Thank you all for everybody who tuned in the chat.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'll post my love results tomorrow. I'll post my love results tomorrow. Have a good night.
All right, peace, everybody.